Okay, good evening all, and welcome to the round two of the 2013 GPVWC Supercup season. With myself, Nick Rowan, in the commentary box is Mr. Phil Cullen. Welcome along, Phil.
Uh, Thanks, Nick. It's a pleasure to be back in the commentary box for the first time this season. Looking forward to the action out here tonight.
Absolutely. No Tom Parker tonight. He's not with us, but nevertheless, we've still got a full field of cars going around at the moment. As just as you join us in qualifying as well, they're all lined up at the end of pit lane, and the rain started to come down on them. So everyone's darted out on the looks like it will be the super soft tyre to try and get a quick run in, literally as quick as possible. But it's coming down pretty heavily already, Phil. So we're expecting we may have a full wet qualifying here.
Yeah, that obviously means that getting out right now and getting the perfect lap. There's no time for bankers. You've got to hit one and hit it pretty quick. And Phil is the first man out there on track, and obviously he'd be the prime candidate to maybe take pole position here right now. And James Shepherd might be in a spot of bother because he's only after rejoining the server now, so he's going to be Paddy last of everyone going around, which could really hurt his qualifying.
Absolutely, yeah. Obviously, James Shepherd took the first race of the season in Melbourne, and he's currently the benchmark. Although from practice times, we've currently seen that the two target cars seem to be slightly quicker than James here. So the two target cars looking quite handy with Sindrith and Villa Pala. Third place man from Melbourne was Ryan Walker. Now it appears that he may have struggled more so around here at the moment, but we'll see how he reacts now come into the qualifying session. But we will get a benchmark pretty quickly of these guys, as out of turn 9 already, Villa Pala is into the coming up to the second sector beam in just a moment, as it's a very tricky end of the lap actually, because you go into one hairpin of turn 13, which is quite wide and open. You have to sweep through it before you get down to the bottom, which is another hairpin. You have to go very, very late. So he's just coming out the final corner, the second to last corner along the long straight. Very much a balancing act this track with downforce as well, due to the low downforce of the straights, and obviously needing the downforce throughout the middle sector in particular. So Villa Pala is getting a little bit crossed up on entry into the final corner, and we should get our first benchmark time of the session of a 1:42.742. So that's currently what it is for Villa Pala, and his teammate Grinseth was 1.1 off him going in across the line there. So the two target boys are across the line already. I believe James Shepherd's had a couple of technical issues and should rejoin momentarily. So it's Jordan Weeks actually has gone to second place. He's 9/10 off Villa Pala on a 1:43.698, as the rain seems to have just stabilised at the moment here, Phil.
Yeah, but you can also see that the Pala there already has a second over everyone else, but you can kind of see as they're nearly coming across the line and kind of going up line astern. Obviously, if the weather can hold, at least the amount of cars are going to be on track there at once is going to hopefully dry the line or keep it somewhat consistent. And obviously right now we'll be looking at a situation where the dry tyres will be the preferred option. And just looking up and down the field, it looks like everybody is on their the dry compound right now. No one's trying to take a punt on the wets right now.
Now it looks like there's a dry enough line currently, but it's starting to get a little bit heavier now, as the Pavlovnovsky of Innovision has jumped into second place, half second behind Villa Pala on the 43.2. So it looks like he's had a good run there, obviously coming down from Super League last season, and he looks like he's actually just got beaten his own time to sector 1 as well. He's 2/10 off the ultimate best. That's a pretty handy sector 1 there, as it looks to be getting pretty heavy for all of them now, as Jordan Weeks he was up on his time in sector 1, but looks like he's lost it again now, as the rain is definitely starting to get heavier. We just wait to see the next few drivers coming through. So currently with the drivers we have out that have done a time, is Villa Pala currently sits on pole from Pavel Oknovsky. Sindri Grinseth has just improved on his time to slip into third place, just 200ths quicker than Jordan Weeks. So it's Pavel Oknovsky in second place as it stands currently, as he comes to the second sector, half second down his own time. So it's, it's definitely getting wetter out there, as Jordan Weeks sits in fourth. Duelmeister is currently in fifth place with Moodley sixth. Ryan Walker, star of Melbourne somewhat, with the Satellite Team LC taking their first podium as well after joining the series. So Satellite Racing taking their first podium. He currently sits in seventh place. Roy Schroten, this is James Shepherd's teammate for CSG Racing. He's currently in 8th, with Scott Bennett 9th in the second Innovision car, and Patrick Gatewood in 10th. And he was very quick in practice actually, he was sitting in 4th behind the 2 Target racing cars and James Shepherd. So Patrick Gatewood having another good run, it would appear, at the moment.
Yes, indeed. Obviously, there's a lot of new faces here, especially for myself. I raced in the Supercup last year, and there's so many new guys. I'm trying to get my head around some of them now, especially some of the pronunciations of some of the names out there. But it's kind of these kind of conditions. The mixed weather is definitely going to see who's going to get an opportunity to shine now, as we saw last week or last time out with Ryan Walker was able to pull off what some would probably see as a surprising result. No one would probably put money on Ryan Walker being 3rd position at Australia. So it'll be interesting to see if we can have another Cinderella-esque story here today with one of the newcomers going to be mixing up against the guys that we're going to be expecting fighting for a victory.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to have an interesting qualifying as well, because the rain is coming down heavy and everyone's done their pretty much 1 flying lap. Some have done 2 and got a second quick time in. But it's the target from Innovision currently at the front, with the 2nd Target car in 3rd place of Sindre Grinseth. Now this is quite significant as well, because Jamie Shepherd's had a few technical issues. Obviously he took pole position and won in Melbourne, but he's had a few technical issues, and at the moment as it stands, Phil, he's completely missed the window of opportunity because the rain has got heavier since he's rejoined. So that's a big hindrance for the CSG Racing at the moment.
It is, and I suppose one question would be whether he had to return to the track after. I'm not sure if he actually got back to the pits before he had his technical issues now, but obviously that would be something he'd have to worry about for the next race if he had stopped on track and had rejoined. As his teammate found out, obviously he'll have a 5-place penalty, right, because he had to rejoin last time out. So it's going to be tough for James, but obviously we saw last time he's a driver well capable of driving around problems and you know, I suppose his biggest thing is I'm sure he'll be in the points by the end of the day, barring any disasters, but if he's not able to get himself far enough up the grid, you could see the likes of Lapala and Grimsett or even Lognoski being able to pull enough of a gap that he won't be able to get near that podium. But of course, again, with these mixed weather conditions, you would expect him to be one of the most prepared drivers out there and kind of will be able to drive around most other issues that come up.
Yeah, we've seen already how talented James is. He obviously, in the last race out in Melbourne, it actually started to rain quite heavily on the final lap for James when he was leading the race, but he was able to negotiate it pretty well. Now, the one thing that needs to be pointed out as well is that with the amount of dampness that's on the track at the moment, James is still out there in qualifying. You know, he's still going to try and put a time in, but I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't as quick as what we've seen. Although there is a slight drying line appeal, he's going to get held up though by Yanni Vananen, but Vananen actually got out of the way there, so that's worked out not too badly for Shepherd. So there's a slight drying line appearing, not too much, but it's enough as he comes up towards Dan Rusu's car. So as he comes through the final sector, he's approaching now, the final couple of corners. That corner in particular, that James has gone through, the second to final corner, is very, very difficult in the wet conditions due to the lines that people take. You can take a very narrow entry and come out slightly wider, or a wide entry and take a slightly narrower exit, depending on what you prefer and what your car can particularly like. So it varies with the line, and depending on the dampness off the track, it can be quite difficult. He's got to run on the back of Dan Rusu here, so he had a little bit of a straight line advantage there. Crosses the line.
Goes
and
first.
he actually goes pole. Wow, sorry, I missed that. He actually jumped at the pole.
I know, I was kind of looking at the bottom of it, looking for him there for a minute.
Yeah, I was as well. I dropped to the bottom of the timesheets, and he jumped up and he went straight up to pole position. Well, that percentage of the wetness that's on the track currently is not hindering James Shepherd whatsoever, because he's jumped up half-second advantage over Ville Lapala. That's a very impressive lap from Shepherd. So clearly that car is dialed in for the wet conditions.
Yeah, I think he did manage to get. I think it's starting to come down a bit heavier there again now. I think he just managed to find a bit of a window, and just a little bit of updates. Lewis Redshaw has just tweeted us and said that he had to sink before qualifying with one of the technical issues he had to deal with, and our race director Chris Williamson also sent me a message to say that he did in fact get back to the pits before he quit out to obviously sync up. So obviously there's nothing he'll need to worry about in post-race scrutiny and from that. So it's the clouds are parting somewhat for Mr. Shepherd out there.
Absolutely, for that particular run it seems done, and we saw that actually in practice that Jamie Shepherd was about half a second down on what Lapala and Grinseth had done, but it would appear that he's added more downforce to the car and is running for a more wet setup that he believes the race will turn out to be. Could be dangerous at the start and end of the race, or even, throughout the race if it dries out at any point, because the two target cars will certainly get the jump on him. He's 1.7 down currently on his own time, so I would have thought he's going to start to back off now. He's out there on the super soft compound negotiating the wet conditions. The wet conditions obviously needing that softer compound and trying to generate the heat into the tyres, especially if you get offline. But he's done a good job up to this point as he hits the line now and as he's come back into pit lane. But it's a half-second advantage for James Shepherd over Villers-Pala as he pulls into the number one spot from Pavel Lotnovsky in third, with Sindri Ginseth currently fourth and Jordan Weeks in fifth, as we have 3 minutes 15 seconds left of qualifying.
Yeah, I'm just looking down. I think most drivers have gone with the super soft compounds, and I'm not surprised really. I think most of us are expecting wet weather in the race, and you'll be changing tyres. So why bother really having to do a lot of running on the yellow tyres? Mind you, that might come back to bite some in the arse by the end of the day, but I can imagine people will be kind of thinking, right, it's going to rain at some point, I might as well just get used to the red tyres, have my car set up and honed from then, and just deal with the wet weather when it comes.
Yeah, definitely. The drivers are struggling out there now that as well. I've just seen Jordan Weeks come into the final corner. He was just sideways all the way over the line. So come out the final corner and over the curbing as he came across the line. So it's definitely getting much, much wetter out there. So with 2 minutes 25 seconds, I think these drivers will start to just understand where they're at with the wet conditions. And I think we will have seen the fastest times now completely come through, with James Shepherd for CSG Racing. Looked like he could be on for a second pole in a row in Supercup, with Villers-Pala currently in second place on a 42.7. They're the only two drivers that have done 42s currently, and it's Pavel Lotnovsky and Sindri Ginseth in third and fourth. So in division from Target, and the multiples of Jordan Weeks in fifth. Now these top 5 drivers in particular, the ones that people have said to look out for, I think it was Ryan Walker that sprung a little more of a surprise. While he's very capable and he's been about a bit as young Mr. Walker, he started to find his feet with satellite racing now, I believe, and he's somewhat found a home, I think, Phil, where he's seems to be much happier than he has been previously.
That's half a battle really, is trying to find somewhere where you feel that you fit in and finding the right environment that you feel that you can flourish in. I think there's a lot of drivers in the past that you can look at that kind of appeared, maybe stayed for a little while, maybe shifted around operations quite a bit, and then suddenly disappeared, never really getting their full potential. So it's great. I know Ryan's a nice guy, and I think we've all, and even he, I suppose, has poked fun at the amount of teams he's probably gone through at times. But genuinely, I do wish the best for the lad, and obviously he was my teammate at times last year at Halcyon when we were here at Supercup, and it was great to see him do so well. You know, it was one of the stories that kind of, out of Melbourne. You know, it felt like when we were doing the broadcast with. Remember Zandvoort, the Super League, and we saw Wixie getting points for the first time that season. It was that kind of feel-good moment when you see someone that you can put in the effort and work hard to get something out of it, and it was nice to see it. And hopefully that's not going to be the one shining light on right season. Hopefully it's the start of many things. But no, you definitely get the feeling he's made it home at Satellite, and even for Satellite to have someone who's been around the league this much, it's great to have, it'll help them to settle in well here, and hopefully there'll be a team that will be sticking around for a long time to come.
Yeah, absolutely. And just on that point as well, what you drew comparison to Wixie there, it's Ryan Walker's obviously, he drove for Drake for a period of time with Lee Morris in Super League, and I think Ryan lost a touch of confidence throughout that period of time and really dusted himself off, realised what he wanted, dropped back to Super Cup and went again with Satellite Racing, and I think that's actually helped him quite a lot. We've seen a couple of times in real life where F1 drivers have gone back to GP2 and come back up again. Romain Grosjean is a prime example of that. So Ryan Walker's has gone backwards to go forwards, essentially, and sometimes you need that. And he seems to be, as you said, flourishing with Satellite Racing now. And Satellite, with it being a new team, they've got a fairly established and well-seasoned driver in VWC with Ryan Walker, and it should help them push forwards. In the terms of what the other drivers that he's got then around him, Dimitri Demulmeister, he is in 6th position for Fox Racing. Had a difficult outing in Melbourne, but seems to have come back strongly here and currently in 6th place in qualifying as we have just ended the session now. Vinod Mooley for FA Racing is in 7th place. So it's been a slightly topsy-turvy qualifying session, and quite large time differences again we're seeing here, Phil. Not the small gaps where most people expected. We're up to a half second between Shepherd and Lapal, and then a full second back to Luknowski. So it's quite a large time difference we're seeing here. First to 10th is split by 2.7 seconds.
Obviously, a lot of it will have to do with the weather, and I think a lot of it probably has to do with the amount of time people have spent in the weather conditions. Like I said earlier, you'd expect James to be one of the most prepared drivers out there, and being able just to have to dust off the fact of having to sink and come on, you'll see rain, and to obviously keep a clear head and be able to go out and do what he did. It's a pretty impressive one, and probably stands by the amount of pre-season testing that he would have done. And you probably guessed that out of the top few. And I know myself with the weather conditions, I'm dreading tomorrow night. I think that's what's going to cause quite a bit of a spread, while people are still trying to find their feet with the weather and the plug-in.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one thing we need to further point out there is that the chance percentage of rain, it was forecast very high, or certainly high for Malaysia. So we are expecting rain throughout this race. It was quite an obscure 3 days that we had in Melbourne. We had rain both in the Formula Challenge and in Supercup, but come Super League, everyone was expecting it. Everyone was expecting to come at some point. And while we had the most lice of drizzle for maybe a lap, it never really came at all. So Dave Carl-Smith and what he did with his strategy, and Phil, I'm just going to allude to this as well for yourself, but strategy in terms of what Dave did and what the rest of the drivers did, it is a huge call, especially in these wet conditions.
Oh, definitely. And I mean, what we're going to see tonight and tomorrow is going to be, we've been talking with some drivers beforehand, and they were trying to decide which way to go. Some were just trying to think, well, should we just put the max amount of fuel that'll get us to the end of the race and just pit for tyres as we go along. And I think others are of the opinion that try and keep the fuel as light as possible and hope for better handling and just try to max it out. So hopefully, for a spectator's point of view, we're going to see some variety in strategies out here tonight.
Absolutely, and due to the way the amount that it's raining at one specific time, is that the drier tyre can actually work in your favour for a longer period of time, because the wind of opportunity is higher, because they'll still get rid of a fairly half-decent amount of water before you have to switch onto the wet tyre. And obviously the problem you got with the wet tyre is it can overheat quite easily. So it's a very fine balancing act between what you run with a super soft compound, for example, to get the softest possible approach and the softest tyre on the track at one time, against the tyre that is the wet compound with obviously the grooves in it. But the heat that it generates is pretty impressive, really. The amount of heat that actually goes through those tyres and required for them. And it literally could be a couple of corners and they just go off the edge of a cliff because the amount of heat that's been put into them the 3 to 4 corners before.
Yeah, and even one spin and suddenly you're probably going to spend half a lap trying to cool those tyres down. Something I've noticed quite a bit in testing, that you are literally driving as slow as you can to go as fast as you can just to take care of those tyres. It's a real tyre management, and it's an extra element that's been added into this year. And again, it's going to be something that's going to tell with the lap times, that those people who've actually spent the most amount of time in mixed conditions is a big thing. And you do see sometimes, and I think that was one case in Australia and even a few times here in Sepang, you get onto the server to test and some lads will be like, oh, let's restart it because we want to get in some dry conditions. That's not going to work anymore. You've got to get out in every kind of condition that you can, so you can get the right kind of feel for it and understand everything.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a very tough balancing act with the tyres themselves, due to the way that they actually wear as well, and the way specific driving styles can suit these tyres. The nature of these tyres, to having the smaller front, induces the understeer quite drastically. So it depends if you can get the balancing out of the understeer counteract with a style that maybe like oversteer. And you might actually have to change styles. I know particularly from my own experience within Midnight that there's been one or two issues with it, but you just got to get on top of those issues and move forwards with them. You can't let them get to you. And I think with some of these Supercup drivers, noticing the time differences, they're trying to drive their own style into it. and trying to adapt their style to the car, whereas the car needs to be driven in a very specific type of way. And I think it's more to do with how these tyres react this season, more so than last season in particular, and that's across the board for all three series.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a learning process. It's something probably similar to what we've seen with Formula One last year. That there was so much variety and variables, even proper word for it there, for what we saw at the start of the year, which produced so many different winners. Obviously, it's going to be something that's going to affect people here now. Is that while people are getting the grips with everything and learning and understanding everything, it's going to take. That's when we're going to see a level of unpredictability. And although hopefully it'll be something that we'll see throughout the season, it won't be something that people will cure in a few races' time.
Yeah, we've got a few drivers out on track at the moment in the warm-up session. Once again, it is raining, but not quite as heavily as it was in the qualifying session. So the drivers are out on track currently. Two Vod Bull drivers are coming across the line first. That's Morten Verneson and Dan Rusu for Vod Bull Racing. 147.9 and 148.2, so 3/10 splits the pair of the Vod Bull boys at the moment. And they're the first ones, like I said, to cross the line. We'll see if there's anyone else comes across before the race is due to start, but the warm-up session has currently just had those two. People are once again just adapting to these wet conditions from the qualifying, and also the fuel load being increased. I think people are just trying to learn where they're at with it. So hopefully we will move to the next race session momentarily, where we will, and it's only the Vod Bull drivers that have actually completed the laps. I think everyone else was testing the pit entry and just understanding it, but it's only the Vod Bull guys that have crossed the line.
Indeed, and just to let you know before we get this show on the road, there's a number of ways you can get in contact with us tonight. There's obviously the Facebook page, the GPVWC Facebook page. We also have our Twitter. We're going to finally get going on using a broadcast Twitter we'd set up in the pre-season. So you can tweet us at GPVWC Live, and hopefully we can answer any questions, or if you get any tips as we go along. Those of you who have myself on Skype, feel free to ping me if you see something of interest or want something answered. So get in touch with us, and we'll try and get you involved in this broadcast.
Yeah, absolutely. It's more interactive. I think we've got this season more than ever now, Phil, as well. So get in touch with us if you have any questions, or if you want to know any information at all, or if you spot something that we don't necessarily as well. Morten Verneson's actually gone round and done another lap and turned in a 146.782. He's now gone from 3/10 in front of his teammate to 1.4. So it looks like as soon as the heat comes into those tyres and you get some confidence, it's quite a large jump. That's over a second he's improved by there, Morten Verneson. So good work from him on a 46.7. Doesn't look like there's anyone else back out there just at the moment.
It's a bit of a surprise you wouldn't see too. If I was one of them, and you'll see this tomorrow night, I would have been trying to get as many laps as I can and just get every kind of feel of the condition that you can. Now, maybe these guys have practiced enough that they feel confident enough, but I would definitely be on track, just trying to get as much as I can in before the race starts. For sure. Let's see if these guys know what they're doing.
Absolutely, we'll see with Super League as well, and Supercup. Obviously, the balance changes with the heavier fuel loads. People usually drive out to understand where they're at with the fuel loads against the wet conditions. But like I said, only the Vod Bull guys have done that. Everyone else seemed to dive back into pit lane straight away and learn where the braking point was for the pit line. As we are just waiting, looks like we've lost one of the drivers. Ben Warren's actually just turned in another lap, 14 seconds off the pace, but nevertheless, a 2-minute dead lap for PB Racing. So just as it's Nico de Cognac that we seem to have lost momentarily, and he should hopefully return, and we'll get the race underway. In the meantime, just have a look with what happened last time out. It was James Shepherd, obviously, like I said before, won the race from Villa Pala, and then Ryan Walker. That was the podium. Scott Bennett had a great showing in 4th place for Innovision, with Jordan Weeks in 5th. Mark Wicks, he was up there for SRS in 6th position. So there's a little bit of a change around, obviously coming from a kind of a street-styled circuit to what we have now, which is a very traditional-styled circuit, and we see a little bit of shake-up and a little bit more of the usual suspects that we would expect to see further up the field now as well. There's obviously the target Villa Pala. He's in 2nd place. His teammates struggled somewhat. Sindre Grinseth and he ended up 2 laps down, but nevertheless the two cars did get themselves home. 4 points for 20 points was for Lapala, and 6 points went to Grimseth.
Yeah, like you said, it's quite a bit more of a traditional circuit there. It's like I said, it was one is right challenging in different places. I know that middle sector is one where time is either made or where it's lost, and it'll be interesting to see how some of them will cope with that, especially in the wet conditions.
Yeah, with the variable conditions as well that we did see in Supercup, the fastest lap chart was quite interesting reading as well, because it's Jamie Shepherd that took it with a 131.2 and a 31.6 for La Pala, but then it was a big jump back to 132.5 for Ryan Walker, but Martin O'Connor as well. Martin O'Connor for PP Dynamic, he was very, very quick at one specific time and turned into 32.5. So yeah, some good times being put out there. And of course, when we had the rain in Melbourne, there was only actually 3 drivers that finished on the lead lap. There was 37 laps in Melbourne, but it was only 3 drivers, the top 3 drivers, that actually finished on the lead lap at the time as well.
Attention, non-essential personnel
Finished in the lead lap. Oh no, it was true last year. I suppose it was dry last year in the Super Cup. At least these guys had weather as an excuse this year for not finishing on the lead lap.
Yeah, well, this time for this race, it's 36 laps we have here today for Super Cup around the Sepang International Circuit, as we're just preparing the cars on the grid ready for the formation lap. And once we get underway, we'll read down through the drivers in the field in their qualifying positions.
I can see Martin Vulgan is starting on wet weather tyres. I'm just having a scan up and down the field to see if anyone else is taking. I see a few people were leaving it late before making the decision to go to the grid. Probably another little added incentive this year to kind of hold off to see what other people are doing. But no, by the looks of it, Martin Bulgan, who's starting 21st position for Scuderia Basila, is the only one going out on wet tyres. And by the looks of the conditions out there, not probably the best choice in the world.
No, that is absolutely the biggest gamble you could take, because currently it's not raining. It appears to be a little bit of wetness around, but I don't think there's heavy raindrops around. Nothing like we just had in warm-up and qualifying. So James Shepherd leads him round. He's the pole position man for CSG Racing. And then we have Ville Lapala for Target in second place. Pavel Otnoski for Innovision is in third place. Sindre Grinseth, Lapala's teammates, in fourth. The Duemeister in fifth place. Vinod Moodley is in sixth place. Great qualifying there from Vinod, so good job from him in sixth place. Ryan Walker, third place man in Melbourne, is in seventh place. Eighth position is the second Innovision car of Scott Bennett, who again had a good run out in Melbourne. And all those, just to give you a heads up, those front few drivers are all on the Supersoft compound. Patrick Gatewood, he's in ninth place and also on the Supersoft compound. We then got Jordan Weeks, he is also on the Supersoft and he's in 10th. Martin O'Connor, Supersoft, in 11th place. Morten Wernerson, Supersoft again, he's for Vod Bull and he is in 12th position, as it looks like the rain is starting to drift in once again. Ben Warren, he is in 13th place on the Supersoft compound. Roy Schroten was the CSG. Yeah, the rain's just starting to come down. Look at this. Now, will anyone gamble actually dive into pit lane for wet tyres, I wonder? But it's starting to get heavier. The rain is definitely starting to get heavier, and they're down the back straight. Yeah, coming down the back straight, and the rain is definitely getting heavier. Will anyone gamble? James Shepherd's backing them up now as well. He's slowed down, so he's backing them up. He's allowing the rest of the field to catch up. I'm sorry I just interrupted the grid there, but Morten Wernerson, he's in 12th. Ben Warren, 13th. Roy Schroten, second CSG car, he's 14th. Mark Wicks, after his good run in Melbourne, is 15th. Yanni Vandenham. Now, he's on the harder compound tyre, interestingly enough. He's on prime tyres in 16th. Yellow banded tyres. Pestovs is 17th and Supersoft. DeCognac, 18th Supersoft. Abbas, 19th Supersoft. Tringus is also Supersoft, 20th. Bolgan on those wet tyres. That could work out potentially for him. Stones, 22nd. Waters, Rusu, Nichols in 25th. And he is also on the prime tyre as we get ready to start this race. So here we go then, 1 light, 2 light, 3, 4, 5, and in wet conditions, we're underway in Malaysia. Good jump there from James Shepherd, he's away straight. Oh no, he's going to drive through! He's going to drive through penalty. Yeah, I thought he jumped the start, he was way so fast. And
Lavnowski got a loss, and we have Carnage in the back. I think Lavnowski got it wrong, and we've Carnage on the home straight. Oh,
yeah, and James Shepherd, what a start that is from Vidop Mood. He's gone from 6th to 2nd. Sixth to second place, Vinod Mooney is in second place. James Shepherd will have to dive into pit lane momentarily, or certainly with the next three laps as the wet weather gains on us. It's starting to rain really heavily now. Villa Palace in third place. Ryan Walker's up to fourth. Eighth to fourth. Great run, Ryan Walker. Sindri Grinto's gone backwards. He's fifth. Demulamister gone backwards. He's also... And our race director, Chris Williamson, has called a restart due to that carnage behind. Phil, what happened there?
By the looks of it, I saw... By the looks of it, it was Pavel Lognosky who got too much wheel spin off the line and sent him out and about. And I think from there, it was just a case of carnage ensuing behind. I said it was a great start there from Vinod Moodley there, and it just seemed to be getting just more traction. It didn't seem to be anything, fancy about it. He just seemed to get better takeoff than anyone else there, which was great to see. Well, obviously not better than James Shepherd, but there was reasons behind that, and he's one lucky duck, I suppose, at this rate when with this restart being called. But yeah, there was a number of retirements there. I saw about 4 or 5 cars, which is usually the prerequisite there to having a restart. So hopefully this will be a quick turnaround time and we'll get going again.
Yeah, regulation does stipulate I believe it's 5 or more cars have actually ended the race on the first lap, then there is a restart called, and Chris Williamson has called that. So the luckiest man in the field, I would say, is James Shepherd, seeing as he pinged off the line a little bit too fast and got a little bit ahead of his steam, but nevertheless, he's now been reprieved of that and will get to go again from pole position. So, luckiest man in the field, I definitely would say, is James Shepherd. And a lot of those drivers behind those front 5 are going to get a second shot. But I think the biggest loser in all this is Vinod Moodley, because he went from 6th to 2nd with an incredible start.
It was a fantastic bit. Maybe he can do it again. He'll be hoping for it, but hopefully get a bit clearer. Just a little clarification just on the rule. I know last year was 5 cars. I think this year we changed the wording of it to be more, it's down to the discretion of the race director. Now, 5 is still usually the roundabout number, but we've kind of opened it up that we're not pinned down to, if 5 cars decide to park, because it's easy, I suppose, for some to decide, if they see 4 cars out, they've had a shitty start, I'm going to pull over and get the 5th car there. So it is at the discretion, but obviously an accident of that, I think there were about 5 or 6 cars were involved there that Chris decided to restart. So hopefully they will get things right this time around and we'll get the action going.
Absolutely, yes. They've gone out again. It looks like they're going to get similar sort of conditions on this outlap once again as well. No rain currently, but will we see what happened last time when the rain starts to fall towards the end of the formation lap?
Just to go in there now, one change that we have had, Ryan Walker has gone out on wets this time round. I think he's the only other one apart from Bulgan. By the looks of it, yeah, Bulgan is still on wets, but everyone else is on the dry compound. But Ryan Walker has decided to change his compound. He's gambling that the same rain is going to come down again at this restart.
And the raindrops are starting to get heavier as they just go through turns 4, 5 and 6, so it could start to get a little bit heavier, is it? Not at the moment. So James Shepherd, he's leading them round from Verlipala, Loknovsky, Grimseth, Dealmeister, Moodley. Now those front 6, they're all on Supersoft compounds. As Phil just pointed out, these tyres that Ryan Walker is on are the wet tyres. And last night we saw how quickly those burnt out. They burnt out very, very fast. We've got to go careful on this formation lap because the heat that they'll get into. He's already understeering through some of these corners. He's in a formation lap. Scott Bennett, he's in 8th position and he is also on the Supers. Patrick Gatewood, 9th. Jordan Weeks, 10th. Martin O'Connor, 11th. Morton Vennison's 12th. Ben Warren, 13th. Roy Schroten, teammate to James Shepherd in the CSG Racing. He is 14th. All those drivers are also on the Supersoft compound. Mark Wicks, he is in 15th position. We then have Yanni Vananen. Now, sorry, Mark Wicks is on the Supersoft, but Yanni Vananen is the first of the drivers on the Prime compound. So that's the yellow bands is the drivers that are on the Prime tyres. So Yanni Vananen's on the yellow banded tyres. Andreas Pestovs is in 17th position. He's on Supers, with Nico de Cognac 18th and on Supers as well. Ihab Abbas, 19th and on the Supersoft. Will Tringus, 20th Supersoft also. And Martin Belgen, as we've already seen from the first start, is still out on those wet tyres. And it's not rained as heavily as it did before the start of the race last time. Not quite anyway. Dale Stones, Supersoft. Andreas Ward, Supersoft. Dan Rusu for Rod Bull, 24th. He's Supersoft. And then finally, David Nichols is on the prime tyres, the yellow banded tyres, as we get the drivers on the grid again. So here we go, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, and for the second time we're underway in these wet conditions. Good start again from James Shepherd. Is it jump start this time? No, that's just a great traction, and away from the line he goes. James Shepherd leads him away from Ville Lapala. And round on the outside is Pavel Loknovsky. Will he brake later? No, Lapala does. Oh, too late in fact. He's delved right to the lead. He's not James Shepherd. That's going to Loknovsky. That was 3 wide there into turn 1. Just about got it back. A little bit naughty there from Lapala. Patrick Gatewood's come up from 10th to 5th. An awesome start. So the awesome start of the day goes to him. Oh, Roy Schroten in fact, sorry. He's in 6th. Jordan Weeks is 7th. Ryan Walker's gone backwards to 8th. It's not, I don't think it's wet enough those tyres yet, because Moodley's going to come on the inside. Sliver up the inside, is he? He does to turn 4. Moodley goes up a position to 9th. Sorry, 8th.
Very strange moment for Sindri Grimstead. He seemed to go forward and seemed to lag and stop and seemed to just restart from his grid position. So he's right down at the back. That was a very strange issue he had.
Yeah,
he's showing
absolutely.
up. My timing is first still.
Grinseth is at the back of the field, and the rain is getting really, really heavy now. James Shepherd and Ville Lapala are battling for the lead, and the rain is absolutely coming down heavier now. But these two are battling in these trying to stay on the dry line. There we go, a little bit of oversteer there for Lapala. The rear of the car steps out, and Shepherd's keeping it all under control. We know that it looks like Shepherd's on the heavier downforce setup against Lapala. At the moment, it might not suit. It depends how much more rain comes down. At the moment, he's actually holding on all right. I thought the Lapala may have pulled away a touch more. But nevertheless, Shepherd is in the slipstream now of Lapala as we come to the end of the first lap. No, see, Lapala's now pulling away a little bit. So he's definitely got less downforce than Shepherd. He's getting close. Oh, that engine screaming in 6th gear there for James Shepherd for CSG. Gone wide there, Lapala, though. He's gone very, very wide at the final corner. This may give Shepherd a run. He got his braking right. He used Lapala as the brake marker. And he will now give him the run down towards turn 1. 53.6 for that opening lap for Lapala. Now James Shepherd's just not close enough. He's definitely got more downforce than Lapala. And then Lapala's done the same thing again. He's gone too deep into the corner, way too deep. This has given Shepherd the inside line. Now Lapala's going to be out, offline, and sliver up the inside to James Shepherd. He does. Straight line speed, though, will go advantage Lapala. Oh, he's got away with it, though, because Lapala had a bit of an oversteer moment. And so the rain's coming down even heavier now, and Shepherd leads.
And just behind, there's right Gaggle car behind Loknovsky. We've got 2 Multiforce cars of Weeks and Gatewood battling out, and Roy Schreiten after that great start up in 6th. It's and Roy and Patrick Gatewood nearly going sideways here, side by side even. Sorry, as Roy gets around Gatewood, goes into 5th position. It's looking really good for CSG right now. Great start from the pair of them right now.
Yep, Jordan Weeks is trying to make an impression on the back of the Innovision of Pavel Loknovsky, who's sideways going through the double right-hander there. Absolutely sideways for Loknovsky. He's held onto it. Jordan Weeks couldn't capitalise. As Shepherd is pulling away now from Lapala because it's getting so wet out there. But it's still working out just about for James Shepherd. It is throwing it down. Absolutely throwing it. Yeah, look at it. They can't even control the cars anymore. These guys are out on the slick tyres now. As long as those tyres of Ryan Walker's has not burnt up, he's going to be in with the hunt. And he is. He's still in 9th place. Now, as long as those tyres are still working all right for him, this could be a massive gamble that's going to pay off for Ryan Walker. Because all these guys will have to pit. Surely at some point, very, very soon, with the amount of rain that's coming down, these slick tyres are not going to hold on long enough. And as long as those tyres are cold enough and cool enough for Walker, it's going to be advantage Ryan Walker. At the moment, he's in the slipstream of Dimitri Demulemister. This is between 9th and 8th position. And Walker's going to go up the inside, is he? As anyone dived in, Shepherd goes through. He completes lap 2. He's gone through 52.0 for Shepherd. Lapala goes through now as well. He's in 2nd. Oh, Loknovsky spun! Loknovsky spun out the final corner from 3rd. Loknovsky's gone. He's to the left-hand side of the final corner. So Jordan Weeks now moves up from Multiforce into 3rd place with Roy Schroten in 4th. Patrick Gatewood's 5th. Ryan Walker is in 6th, and he's on the right tyre at the right time, I'd say, at the moment. These guys will never make it round.
We have multiple cars coming into pit lane. Vernus and Warren Barron, from about 10 positions down, or Dolomites even, from probably 9th position downwards, have all decided they've had enough of those tyres. They're in and they're getting.
Yeah, it's Roy Schroten even can't keep it straight. Sorry there, Phil. He couldn't even keep it straight, and Walker went straight by him. Oh, Shepherd's off! Shepherd's off! He's gone for turn 4. He's in the fence. I think he might have tucked the fence. He's just got it back on track though now.
No, I think he just
James Shepherd's gone off.
Just looked like he touched the curb. Now I know really in these conditions the curbs, the mud or the plug-in doesn't really affect that sort of stuff, but it just looked like he just got a wheel off and it just sent the car around.
Yeah, Lapala's off. Lapala's off as well. Race leader Lapala. Ryan Walker leads. He's on the right tyre at the right time. Ryan Walker for Satellite Racing now leads, and this is advantage Walker. He gambled on those tyres, and he's up to the race lead already. So Ryan Walker on the third lap leads from Villa Lapala, who's barely able to get the car around the corner. Jordan Weeks, exactly the same problem. Shepherd is behind Weeks. They can barely even get these cars through the corners. Roy Schroeter's going way too fast at the hairpin, gets it turned in. Moodley's off at the hairpin. Turn 9, Patrick Gatewood, he's going to...
and you're kind of looking where Dudemeister is. I mean, he's already caught up after having a pit stop. He's already after catching up everyone who didn't make the pit. So really, you're going to be looking at the likes of Lillapala, Weeks, Shepherd are going to be well
taking advantage by diving into pit lane there, and he'll start to pass all these guys. Now, where's Ryan Walker? Right, since Ryan Walker has taken the lead, he's 14 seconds down the road already. That's an incredible turn. Ryan Walker is already 14 seconds down the road. He crosses the line now, and these guys are only coming into the final corner now. Lapala's going to dive into pit lane. He's locked up. He's locked up again. He's on the grass. He's in the gravel, but he's turned it in. Oh, Weeks is off as well. Dudemeister's going to go through. He's going to go into second place. James Shepherd's taking the place off Weeks as he went off. So James Shepherd is already back up behind Lapala as they all go into pit lane.
And of course, something that CSG are going to have to do now. Sorry to cut across. CSG are going to have to stack their cars because the two of them are rather close.
You're absolutely right there. Gatewood's in as well. Moodley's in. Pestov's is already on the wet tyres as well. So a lot of these drivers are massively capitalising. Oh, Gatewood's only just got slowed down. And there was the stack. We saw the stack. Shepherd's just left as Roy Schroeter's in pit lane now. So going down pit lane, James Shepherd, Jordan Weeks. Now, where's Shepherd going to return out into? Oh, he's got a drive-through. He's sped in pit lane. James Shepherd's got a drive-through. So Lapala is already out. He's gone through turn 2 already. He's hurtling down through turn 3. Oh, the huge oversteer moment there for Villa Lapala as well. So he's out on the wet tyre, and he came back out in 6th place. So all these drivers are struggling. Morten Wernersen is in 5th. Andreas Pestovs is in 4th. Sindre Grinseth is in 3rd. Where's his mental? So he's wow. So actually, Phil, what we've just seen there is he's obviously had a problem at the start and dived straight into pit lane and got tyres. He's now 3rd.
Well, I suppose he's after dodging a bullet that he was far enough down the grid when they all started piling in that he followed the queue.
Right. No, sorry, that's Dudemeister. Sorry, Dudemeister's just gone off. Second place man, Dudemeister's just gone off the track. He's come back on though. He's well in front of where Grinseth is though. He's 8 seconds in front. But Ryan Walker leads by 23 seconds.
Was just about to say that, it was 26 seconds ahead. I can only imagine what's going through his head as Lapala is going around the outside there of Morten Wernersen there. He's obviously finding his feet very quickly in those tyres, and he's going to be trying to make it up, but he's 41 seconds behind Ryan Walker right now. That just gives you an idea of what a difference one lap makes, one lap too late.
Absolutely incredible, and this gives you some sort of perspective as well. Where Pavel Lotnovsky started, Ryan Walker is coming up to lap Pavel Lotnovsky now. He's up behind him now. Lotnovsky is out on the wet tyre, but he's going to lap him. So Lotnovsky's clearly had another issue, and he may have been back into pit lane again. But it looks like Ryan Walker could be on to lap Pavel Lotnovsky. As Lotnovsky will probably see the blue flag. He should do anyway. He does. He pulls to the right-hand side. So Walker goes through. Dudemeister is still in second place. Sindre Grinseth is 7.7 seconds further back down the road. Now, they are carrying less downforce. We saw the two target cars were carrying less downforce than what Shepherd was in the CSG. Lapala is 4th. Pestovs is 5th. Wernersen's 6th. Scott Bennett is in 7th, and he might make a move on Wernersen towards turn 4, does he? He does. That's a late lunge there, Scott Bennett, but he's got it done. Well done. He's now up to 6th position. James Shepherd's still got a service drive-through penalty. I think he's the fastest man out there actually at the moment as well on those wet tyres. But he's still got to serve that drive-through penalty for speeding in the pits. Jordan Weeks is 9th, with Martin O'Connor 10th.
Be interesting to find the worst Shepherd lost a bit, because obviously he was more or less right on top of Lillapala. Sorry, can't pronounce his name. But it's about 9 seconds difference between the two of them and his drive-through to come. So he seemed to have lost a bit of time in there in the pits, and we didn't see him hit the wall. It didn't look like he hit the wall, but maybe there was some other contact that he decided to get fixed when he was in the pit lane.
Yep, and in that time, it was a half-second improvement there for Ryan Walker in the final set, so he's obviously adapting to the conditions very well, because he's now up to 28 seconds in front of Dulemeister. And this is incredible from Ryan Walker at the moment. He gambled when the rain was barely even falling at the start of the race. It was barely even falling on the formation lap. He knew he had to keep those tyres cool before the start of the race. He did that, and he's reaping the benefits at the moment with a 27-second lead advantage after 5 laps.
I can see a few Super League drivers taking notes for tomorrow night, myself probably included. But he does seem to be running at a pace that he doesn't need to be losing a lot of time, even to the likes of the Target Racing duo there, that he's not losing time hand over fist now. The pair of them are on the wet tyres, so
absolutely.
Really,
well, James Shepherd just crossed the line, and James Shepherd and Ryan Walker lapped at both a 54.9. So Ryan Walker he's lapping superbly well, because Shepherd's usually the benchmark currently. From round 1, he was the benchmark, and he's lapping at the same speed. So it's going well for him, and Dulemeister, got to give him credit, he's holding in there. But Sindre Grinseth is closing on him. It was 8 seconds, it's now 4.6. So Grinseth is closing. So the Target Racing boys, or Pedicassa in particular, is probably rubbing his hands at the prospect of Grinseth getting past Dulemeister, as Villa Palla is further 4 seconds behind him down the road. Scott Bennett's 5th. He's got past Pestovs. We've missed that, I apologise, but Bennett's got past Pestovs now as well.
Yes, Scott's handily making his way up the field now. He's 6 seconds behind the Little Pala there now, so it could be another good race here for Scott Bennett. And you got to imagine what's going through the heads of the likes of Walker and Dulemeister, who wouldn't be usually up this high up in a Supercup race. You got to be wondering what's going through their head, especially when you know that there's faster cars that come behind you, and just trying to, on a dry track alone, just trying to keep the kind of mental concentration that you need is hard enough, but trying to make sure you don't just put your foot down just that little bit more, that's going to send those wet tyres off their cliff. They're earning their money tonight, their virtual money at least.
Absolutely. It's a 55.4 that last lap for Ryan Walker, and it was a 55.7 for Dimitri Dulemeister, so he's keeping some good pace there at the moment. Sindre Grinseth, though, was a 53.5. A 53.5? That's surely not right.
So James Shepherd is in, and we assume this will be to serve for his drive-through penalty. Be interesting to see now where he will emerge. Obviously, we've got a pretty packed out field right now, so could be looking at maybe coming out around 13th position for James.
I just verified those times, and it was right. It's 53.5 for what Grinseth done. It was a 52.6 for La Pala. So the two Target boys are flying in these wet conditions.
Yeah,
James Shepherd did come out in 12th. Well, yeah. You were right there, Phil. Yeah.
And I am sure that Roy will not be holding him up too much, I'd say, once James finds his line again now.
Ben Warren, he's having a good run at the bottom of the top 10 at the moment. He's actually in 10th place, but he's right behind Martin O'Connor and Morten Wernerson, who are 8th and 9th. So Ben Warren's having a tidy little run at the moment. He's actually adapting to a new wheel currently, I believe. So a good run for Ben Warren here currently. As Jordan Weeks is in 7th place for Multiforce. Andrew Pestos, now he's a guy that's having an exceptional run at the moment. He's in 6th. Now Scott Bennett is in front of him, and Bennett is 9 seconds further back down the road from where Villa Pala is.
Yeah, the PPBD lads are doing rather well, actually. Both of them are in the points right now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a 55.3 that Ryan Walker's just done.
Oh, that's Ben Warren going around in a half spin there. Let's both CSG guys by, so he's down to 12th, but he's enough of a gap to his teammate William Tringus now. So
once again, my outstanding timing puts commentator's curse on him.
As we see James Shepherd now in 11th, he's coming right up behind Roy Shorten, so I imagine there'll be James will be getting past his teammate rather quickly, and then moving on to get up to O'Connor and Wernerson and start working his way back up the field. One person actually seemed to lose out quite a bit in the weather and the pit stops and everything was actually Patrick Gatewood. We saw him up about 5th or 6th there, and he's actually running 14th position right now, so he lost heavily when the rain shower came down and everything was going on.
James Shepherd has just passed his teammate Roy Schroten for 10th place now as well in the CSG, although Roy Schroten's going to come straight back at him, is he? No, he's lifted off the throttle. Yeah, he backed out. He saw he was getting a slipstream and he backed out, so Shepherd continues on. Roy Schroten is now 11th, so next target for Shepherd is Martin O'Connor, Morton Verneson. Second place man Grimseth is coming. Third place Grimseth is coming on the back of second place man Dielemeister. As said before, he was closing time. It was 8 seconds, 4 seconds, and now he's right behind him. As unfortunately he's lost David Nichols. Now that's Ryan Walker's teammate in Satellite Racing, and he looks like he's had a few issues, and he's out of the race now while his teammate Ryan Walker leads the way. As Sindre Grimseth is behind Dimitri Dielemeister at the moment. And he's got to try and navigate his way around him. And the spray's come up quite heavily off the back of these cars though at the moment as well. So he's been very cautious. Oh wow, he went right over the curb and there, nearly on the grass did Grimseth. Now this, and
Lillipal,
exactly what his teammate didn't do, but Lapale has done it. He went straight over the grass and the AstroTurf there. Now does Grimseth have a run on Dielemeister here? He does, and looks like that straight line advantage is going to help Grimseth. He's going to slip up the inside of Dielemeister, brake later, or brake earlier, sorry, and he'll still get it done. He'll hit the apex. Now, Dielemeister may go run out the final corner. Oh, wow, power slide out the final corner there for Grimseth. Superb. Absolutely superb there for Grimseth. So the Target Racing moves up into second place. Sindre Grimseth. Dielemeister down to third, and the menacing Lapala 2.3 seconds further on back.
Yeah, so one thing, after you make that overtake move, you should be careful not putting the foot down just too much and spinning up those tyres and losing all grip. I mean, I think that's what we've seen coming out of it. As we go to P10, we see Roy Schreiten is coming right up behind Morten Wernerson as they exit the final corner. Roy's going to pull nearly right up alongside him, hooks up right behind the Vodbull driver, and we see now if he's going to have a run at him into turn one. Wernerson takes the defensive line, staying inside. Roy ducks down to his inside, leaves him a car's length worth of view. Oh, they get close, but Roy makes the overtake nice and clean. Good job from the two of them there. Hard but fair.
Hard and fair, absolutely, and James Shepherd had passed him just a few corners before as well, so the CSG boys have now gone up to 8th and 9th. That's put Verneson, as you said, in the Vodbull down to 10th place. Martin O'Connor is now 11th. Ben Warren's got himself all tied up and recovered. He's still in 12th. Patrick Gatewood's still struggling in those wet conditions though. Not liking these at the moment in that Multiforce car. So Shepherd now is 10.6 seconds further back from Andreas Pestovs, as Jordan Weeks is in front of Pestovs by 2.4. 2.5 seconds then further on down the road is Scott Bennett, and he's now gone to 13 seconds behind Lapala. No, Lapala's gone on the inside of Dielemeister for third place into the second last corner, and he's got it done. So brakes later and got the job done. Lapala up to third. So it's a Target Racing 2-3 at the moment, as Ryan Walker has a 25-second advantage.
Yeah, really interesting to see how quick, obviously, the Target lads are going rather quick, as Dielemeister has a go back at them, and they touch, and Dielemeister not going to literally just stand over the side of the road and let the lads get away with it despite being quicker. Lapala gets a better exit and takes the lead, but Dielemeister might have another run going into turn one, but he's not... Can't fault him for not wanting to give up that podium too easy.
No, absolutely not. And he's Lapala now moves up to third place and onto the podium with his teammate 2.8 seconds further down. Now Ryan Walker, he's lapping at a 56.2 and a 53.6 for Grimseth. Now that's a very fast time. Ryan Walker doesn't want to be losing much more time than that, because it is down to 23 seconds. So while we are applauding Walker, the two Target cars are going quicker than him.
Yeah, but you can kind of even see that with Ryan, he hasn't lost Pavel Lognovsky. You know, we saw him lapping there a number of laps ago, but it looks like Pavel's kind of having to just sit there to avoid having to hold up Ryan. So obviously Ryan will be... And of course we have to remember that Ryan did start the race on these tyres, so he would have lost some of the life out of those tyres over that lap or two until the conditions got wet enough that they would have started to work correctly.
Yep, and we now look at P6, which is Jordan Weeks going against Scott Bennett. Scott Bennett brakes later, holds that fifth, as Jordan Weeks is going to slip up the inside of the seat. Oh no, he's going to get a bit of oversteer. Oh, got on the power nicely though. That's a great job from Jordan Weeks. Scott Bennett could not get on the power whatsoever, and Weeks has gone around the outside of him and up to fifth place. So Jordan Weeks is fifth. Scott Bennett is now sixth, as Pestov holds in seventh place with the closing in. James Shepherd down to 8.5 seconds.
It's an awkward corner actually that even in the dry, actually trying to find enough grip to get you up the hill without spinning the back end of the car around. In the wet, it's a nightmare. So well done on Jordan Weeks. I might have to try that line at some point to see if you get a bit more grip going that direction. Because that whole sequence of corners, from that corner up the hills through the left kink and or the right kink even, sorry, is just plain awkward.
Yep, 55.8 from Ryan Walker that lap, and it was a 54.0 from Sindre Grimseth, so that's another cool 1.8 seconds out of the lead for Ryan Walker there, so that clock's going to start ticking down because them tyres, I think, are starting to give up. Obviously, starting the race on them in the dry conditions, they may have just gone through their wear cycle, and you might need to try and go offline and keep them cooler now, Ryan Walker.
Yeah, even that he's probably looking at the time and looking at how much he's losing, but and that's going to start pressuring his head. He's going to be thinking.
He lifted off to let Pavel Lotnovsky through, so that would have cost him a little bit more time. So he's realised that Lotnovsky's quicker. He's let Lotnovsky go now, but he's definitely struggling on these wet tyres that I think they've seen the best of their life as the rain is starting to. It's getting heavier, in fact. Incredibly, the rain's starting to fall even heavier.
Yeah, you'll have to wonder if he's struggling after 10 laps in the race. He could be looking at having to make at least one more stop, if not two, if that's the case. And obviously, the wetter it's going to help those tyres, but obviously they're still going to wear. But it's getting wetter. That we saw this last night, that when we really turned into monsoon conditions, that we saw guys really struggling even on the wet tyres to get the most out of things.
Absolutely, and it's currently at the moment he's not been able to make the most. Well, he has made the most of it. And I'm not entirely sure how long the pit stop is around here, but he could potentially gamble and go and get some new ones and come back out again and try and battle them. But it's quite early in the race. It's only lap 11. You don't know how the race will pan out. So if he's able to hold on enough, and the rain starts to fall away, he may be able to go dive in and get the dry tyres, but there's no way we're getting that anytime soon. The rain's way too heavy for that currently.
Yes, I think if it gets any wetter, they're going to need boats out there.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. 57.6 was the last lap for Walker, and a 54.1 for Grimseth. That's a lot. The fastest lap of the race currently is James Shepherd. He's on a 52.0.
As we looked at Ben Warren and Martin Merton fighting over 10th position, Ben Warren coming right up behind the Volvo driver and going around the outside, and it looks like he's going to clear him pretty simply. Maybe Wernersson's gone with a bit heavier wing, but we'll see. Wernersson holding the inside line going into turn one. We'll see if he keeps it. Oh, he's going in deep. He's going in, but he managed to hold it. Well done. And he's managed to fend off Ben Warren on this attack. Ben's going to have to try and line him back up again. Maybe he might have a chance at the top of the hill heading in to the end of sector 1. No, it looks like he's lost a bit of time there, so it might be a bit more time before we see Ben Warren try to overtake. He has a bit of a dummy look there, but nothing serious.
Just to point out as well, as we do have very much tropical style weather here, even though it's throwing it down with rain, it's still 28 degrees out there, so the temperature's still high, but the rain is falling, so very much you're in the tropics when that happens. I'm surprised we've not had thunder and lightning yet, to be honest with you. We have Ryan Walker, he's still leading the way, but it's down to 17 seconds now. He's just done 56.8. Out the final corner comes Grimseth. Now, where's Ryan Walker? He's going through turn 2 at the moment. And there we go, Grimseth comes across the line now, 53.8. That's exactly 3 seconds quicker. Exactly 3 seconds quicker for Grimseth over Walker. It's down to 16.7 seconds.
Yeah, he's got to be. I think at this point he's going to start kind of thinking, right, bugger them, just going to do as well as I can. Though you kind of look at it, he's still holding a gap to Dunameister, at least. That's been kind of sitting around 30 seconds. Even the gap to Weeks and Bennett, it has held at 44 and 56 respectively.
Grimseth's just gone off at turn 4. Sorry, he went over the curbing and went slightly off the track. He's come back on in front of his teammates still.
Now, this could work in Ryan's favour. I don't think it will, because I think anytime I've seen these Target guys on track, they've been together and they look rather synced up, so it'll be interesting to see if one of them's going to take the lead here and lead the charge, obviously. But I think Little Pallet's going to have a gander at his teammate in minutes. Just have a bit of a look. Not too serious yet. I think, imagine if anything he's going to try, and he'll be on the back straight or the front. home straight either. Try not to do anything crazy that's going to drive Petter up the wall at least, but you imagine if La Pala can be quicker, there might be here you have a go and have a run and see what you can do, especially since La Pala is, at the moment, I know it's early days to be talking about championship, but he's one ahead of the team right now. Vindar Moodley has left the game. So
That's a shame, because he had a good qualifying as well with Moodley.
oh, I think he crashed out of the last corner by the looks of it there. I can see a smashed up looking FA racing car just after the exit of the final turn. Let's see what happened here now. He kind of got two wheels on the grass as he's coming along and the car just speared off. It actually looked a very slow speed accident, so maybe might have been some other reasons there. We'll have to find out after the race.
Absolutely. So Grimseth and La Pala go through once again. It's a 55.4 for Grimseth there, and it was a 57.5 for Ryan Walker. It's down to 15 seconds now. Oh, he's gone straight on at turn 4 as well as Ryan Walker. He's got it sorted out though, and back up over the top of the hill before he comes back down through the very fast chicane, crest the hill into the fast chicane, and it's coming. The time is coming down constantly at the moment. 12.7 now. This is getting pretty menacing. There's two orange target cars after you, Ryan Walker, as those tyres are screaming out to be changed. As Dale Stones goes off in front of Ryan Walker there to the right hand side of the track. Conveniently gets out of the way from him, in fact, so we just lost Ihab Abbas also now, unfortunately.
He just parked in the pits, so maybe he's had enough of the wet conditions, or again, maybe there's something up.
We still got a lot of cars circulating out there, and you just see the odd drying surface every now and again. Not very much because the rain's simply too heavy, but some of the corners with the amount of cars that are going through, you see the odd little flutter of a dry line, but nothing significant enough for these guys to really be worried about. If anything now, Ryan Walker probably wants to dry up than he does get wetter, because he could dive in for the dry tyres and not really lose much overall, because he started well on the wet tyres, obviously at the start of the race, but he had to drive around probably 2 laps, I'd say, in pretty warm conditions before those tyres would have really started to help him, but they've just worn out now, and 12.7 seconds is the gap as he crosses the line now. He's just done a 1:57.4, so a tenth better than what he did last time. As Grimseth's gone, oh, Grimseth's pitting! Oh, they're both pitting! Both the target cars into pit lane!
Okay, I could get one coming in, but both at the same time.
I'm not sure why they're doing this. I'm not too sure how much input Pedicastas had on this either, but they're going to have to stack, and they're both in pit lane.
See, interesting how they're going to work this one. They are going to stack. This is going to be. I'll see if the Pala's going to try and get in beside him and see if he can get pit lane. But he's losing valuable time, and this is something we kind of saw at Australia. That we expected 1 stops from a lot of people, and then the Pala was working on a 2 stop at the time. I suppose compared to the norm of what we expect. So definitely, this is one for the ages anyway. At least, and it's going to make Ryan Walker a bit of a happy man. His gap is back up to 30 seconds.
It is, but I'm not entirely sure why exactly they've done that. Unless they're trying to get some sort of undercut on Walker, because Walker's obviously going to have to pit. Yeah, he's actually got his request light on, so he's going to have to pit because those tyres are screaming at the moment for him. So I wonder if Casa is even... If this is his call, if he's basically said both drivers dive into pit lane, while the Pala's lost a load of time, which I don't fully understand that one, he's going to have... They pitted them, going to try and get some sort of undercut on fresh tyres, wet compound tyres. But the Grimseth's problem at the moment, he's going to come up behind Jordan Weeks in the Multiforce car. Dulamise goes back up into 2nd place, and in fact he's just going to PB his own time. So Dulamise has actually done a personal best of his own time in Sector 1. What's Ryan Walker going to do? He's peeling off, so race leader finally pits. Ryan Walker is into pit lane. What's Dulamise doing? 4 tenths off his own time, Sector 2. He may pit.
Yeah, I was thinking that, Ryan's probably thinking when he saw those target bikes pitting, he's going to go, you probably went, yes, means I can actually pit without having to worry about losing the lead straight away. Now, that's not to say the target lads are still going to be quicker than when he gets back
Well,
out,
we don't know because we've not seen Ryan outright pace against these guys yet because the tyre difference, so Walker may have pace on new tyres.
Or at the very least, he might not lose 3 seconds a lap.
Exactly, yes. So Dulamise has gone to the final corner and gone through again. Weeks is going through as well. Grimseth's coming up to the final corner. And a huge line, just way too much. Can he get it stopped? He has done. but Weeks is going to get the position back. He does indeed. Now, where's Ryan Walker in turn 1?
Turn 1 ahead, well ahead of Dylan.
Well
He's
ahead.
got nice clear track. You couldn't ask for more from a pit stop. That's exactly what you want. As Grimseth's going to have another look at Weeks from the outside.
Seconds. Sorry, but Grimseth, it's still 13 seconds between Walker and Grimseth. So new wet tyres now for Ryan Walker, and he's still got 13 seconds. He just needs to get them up to temperature now, because that's 1 lap advantage for Grimseth. And Grimseth's passed Jordan Weeks now as well into 3rd place. Gives him a clear run. Now, will Jordan Weeks come back to him towards turn 4? He's going to look to the inside. Brake later, does he? He does. Is it too much? He locks the front left tyre. Gets it sorted out a little bit wide for Grimseth, but he holds on. He's up to 3rd. Scott Bennett's 5th. Yet to make a stop. Villa Pala is 6th after stacking. And, oh wow, he's way back behind Grimseth in fact now. So that's really, really hurt Villa Pala.
Yeah, about 10 seconds he lost there. And I can... It's a strange decision to try and stack them. They weren't going to gain that much. The conditions weren't going to change. It would have been so much easier just to run at least one of them 1 lap more.
You would have thought so. I'm not too sure how this works for the CSG boys either. I'm not too sure they've actually been back in again. Well, Shepard's had 2 stops. Well, obviously one of those was for the drive-through. Schroeter's not been in again. He's now 10 seconds further back down the roads. Okay, so they've not pitted for a second batch of wet tyres. Oh, Bennett was sideways out of the hairpin there as well. As Weeks is back past, is he? No, who's that behind him? Yes, he is. He is.
Oh, it is Weeks.
So Weeks is back past Grimseth.
Did exactly like what he did. Got around the outside, just coming up the hill towards the end of Sector 2.
Absolutely.
Just need to get more grip out of it.
So this is actually working out for Walker because Grimseth is battling with Weeks. So as long as this continues, it's going to work out for Walker. Walker comes across the line. Obviously, he's still on 57.4, obviously with a stop though. Dynamister's carried on the same tyres that he pitted for before. So he's only 6 seconds behind currently. As Weeks and Grimseth are going side by side again. They come across the line. And yeah, they're going to go side by side down towards turn 1. On the inside is Jordan Weeks, outside is Grimseth. Better straight line speed there for Grimseth. Brakes later, does he? He does. Sweep him around the outside. Jordan Weeks is going to try and get him back. Can't get it done though. He's offline though, Grimseth now. And now as long as Weeks, oh, well played. He went to the inside of the track so he couldn't accelerate. Grimseth covered the line. That was very, very clever driving there for Grimseth. And he's covered the line.
And while all
Jordan
that was
Weeks is going to try and chase him down again though now.
Yeah, while all that was going on, Scott Bennett's come into the pit lane. So has one of the lapper cars there. Lets him by there. So Bennett's going to re-emerge in 8th position behind Roy Schroten. A bit clearer between himself and between Roy and Wernerson.
Even though that battling, sorry, but the Walker's actually lost 3 seconds.
It's really short. He did 2:20 last. Well, I suppose that was his outlap 2:20. It'll be interesting to see what his first lap of speed's going to be, because even Grimseth was battling out there, and he still did a 1:57. Yeah,
Jordan Weeks is still on the first tyres he pitted on as well. This is Jordan Weeks on the original compound, wet compound tyres that he was originally on. And Grimseth's also pitted for the next set of wet tyres. But yet Weeks is holding steady against him, and it's just as quick. So I wonder if they're ripping through the tyres a little bit quicker, and Jordan Weeks is actually holding on to them a little bit longer.
Well, I suppose the thing is, with the Target guys, they haven't raced the VWC before. So I mean, last year, especially in the Supercup, we all got ourselves into the tendency one stop was the quickest way of going here. Now I know it's a new mod and everything else going involved here, but at the same time you also look at a situation where maybe these guys are trying not, I suppose, sticking to the same strategies that we stuck to last year. So maybe they started off the race planning a two-stop strategy. Maybe the reason we're seeing them go so quick is because maybe they've got less fuel in the car compared to other cars who decided just to fuel up and are at least trying to run at least a one-stop race. Whereas Dudemeister's within 4 seconds now of Ryan Walker. Dudemeister did a 1:56 there last time out, while Ryan Walker is 1:58. Ryan's really not at home right now.
He's really, really not. And I'd say the other thing as well is that Grimseth and Jordan Weeks, while they were battling, they still both did 55s. Both of them did 55s while they were battling, and yet Walker did a 58. So Walker is not liking this at the moment at all. And the rain has just started to back off a little bit. Ever so slightly, the rain has just started to hold off a little bit. Still pretty heavy, but it's the lightest it's been for a couple of laps. And the line, the dry air line is sort of appearing, but still, again, not enough for the dry tyres or anything like that yet. They're all out there on wets, as Weeks is still holding on. Okay, so we believe Ryan Walker actually went off in the fast left-hander, which caused him to lose the time just towards the end of the second after the second sector. So Ryan Walker still leads. Oh, his times are not good though.
Coming at him. I mean, if you're Doolemeister now, you can actually see Ryan Walker ahead. You can see his spray, and that's going to do the Belgian. Belgian driver is going to be, that's all the motivation you need to go after someone when you can see him ahead of you.
Dimitri's trying to cool the tyres here. And remember, he's not actually stopped yet. He hasn't actually stopped for tyres at all, I don't think. According to mine, he's got 0 stops. And he's not actually pitted at all for tyres. And he's catching Ryan Walker. He's actually catching Ryan Walker at the moment. And he hasn't stopped for tyres. So he's calling these tyres. He's doing the right thing and calling them down. What Ryan should have been doing, really. And he's reaping the benefit. Now, he's actually requested to come into pit lane, so he might be the first one to dive into pit lane for... Sorry, well, he's going to dive in for wet tyres again, I would have thought. God, if he went to dries now, that would be a big gamble. Grimseth, he's 2.8 seconds behind. 1.2 behind is Jordan Weeks. Now, see, Jordan Weeks has pitted only once as well, and got the wet tyres earlier on in the race, and not gone in for a second time. So we've got a little bit of odd strategies going on at the moment.
Yeah, because I mean, if let's say you're working off the traditional one stop, your fuel load would be approaching that level right now, which might explain why Dimitri's looking to pit around now. So it'll be interesting to see if that is the case. But obviously, we'll have to wait and see what happens. But you could be looking at a situation where, because they've pitted early, the likes of Grimseth and Lapala, maybe they are on a 2-stop. Petra, if you're listening, give us a tweet and let us know what the story is, or at least give us an inkling to it anyway, whether that pit stop was planned. But we might see that they might have to come in again if they are running a 2-stop or they are burning through their tyres quite a bit, because...
Doolemeister's struggling though. Doolemeister is really struggling because Grimseth is all over the back of him now, and he's going to pass him. Doolemeister's due to come into pit lane. And we are seeing a dry line. There is definitely a dry line starting to appear, so the more these guys pick up the speed and lap, because it has halted slightly more so the rain.
Oh, and Doolemeister, he's got Bulgin ahead of him on pit lane entry, and he's going to be losing time. He's kind of looking left and right around the Scuderia Basile car, but he cannot find a way by, so I think he's just going to settle in behind him. But there's a couple of valuable seconds, I'd say, lost behind that car.
Absolutely. Now, the rain is definitely starting to settle and ease off now, shall we say. And there is a slightly drier line appearing. You can see it on the track in front of some of these drivers. There is a slight dry line appearing. What is Doolemeister doing? Is he going back out on the wet tyres again? He is. So he's got a fresh set of wet tyres. He's going back out on track now as Bulgin goes by as well. Now, he was at the guy that started the race, Martin Bulgin, on the wet tyres, but didn't really make the same impact as what Walker did.
No. I think I saw him spinning early on, actually. On the first lap or so, but we've got the lead. It's down to about a second now between Ryan Walker and Grimseth, and I don't imagine there's going to be much of a fight here. Even Jordan Weeks is very close behind. I think Ryan is going to lose this lead very quickly, if not before the back straight.
59.2 plays a 54.9. Ryan Walker is not liking these conditions at all, even on these fresh wet tyres. This is horrible at the moment for Ryan Walker. He's 3 seconds lap slower than the target guys. So that's not really working out for him at the moment, and it looks like he may relinquish finally on lap 19 the race lead.
Well, as Grimseth, I think, has to do is just take his time. No need to do anything crazy, because he knows he has a much quicker car, and even now he's nearly alongside him, nearly on the corner exit. I would have fully expected him to put one down the inside, although he can't waste too much time. Jordan Weeks is ploughing up behind him right now, and we've already seen Grimseth and Weeks, they've been battling out.
Grimseth's gone very deep
there, so
Grimseth went very deep in the final corner, and he's got past Ryan Walker there, but it's allowed Jordan Weeks to close up. So the front three now in this race on lap 20 is split by 1.2 seconds. Sindre Grimseth in the target racing car from Ryan Walker for Satellite, and Jordan Weeks for Multiforce is the 1, 2, 3 split by exactly a second now, in fact. as the drying line still starts to emerge.
And we've Lil Palace still, he hasn't made any impression since his pit stop. He's still, what we said about 10 seconds he was off behind when he came out of pits. And we're going down to P6 with Dudemeister and Roy Schreiten going at it right now. Dimitri obviously after that pit stop now, that bit of time he did lose, but Roy Schreiten's going to look down the inside. Let's see if he's going to hold it there. He's sticking it down. Dudemeister gives him a bit of room, and important battle between the Benelux countries there. And right now Roy Schreiten come out on top.
Yeah, Roy Schreiten slips on by. Now what I find interesting as well, that everyone that is pitted for a second time to get tyres, or the wet tyres, have been slower, except the target guys. The target guys have not been. They have not been slower, they've been faster. But everyone else seems to have got slower. Ryan Walker is now coming under attack from Jordan Weeks, who's still on the exact same wet tyres as he was when he pitted for the first time round. So Ryan Walker is seriously struggling with understeer in that car. That is huge problems he's having at the moment as Jordan Weeks is battling with Ryan Walker, and Grimseth is now already 2.7 seconds down the road.
Yeah, Weeks can't waste any time here now. He's got to get by if he wants to chase down Grimseth. I think Grimseth's probably a bit faster, but Weeks needs to keep himself in contention. The sooner you get past Ryan Walker, the better. I'm sure he's going to have a gander here now at the end of the straight to see. He lines him up, looks to his outside, late junk out the outside, and he's going to slide it down the inside. And Ryan doesn't make too much of a fight out of it, which tries to go the long way around, and he's going to battle it out there. Well done, as Weeks. His car looks rather pointy there behind.
Yeah, the rain's increased once again as well, and that dry line seems to have disappeared once again as they dive into turn one, and Weeks is going to get it stopped, is he? He does, so Jordan Weeks moves up into second place from Ryan Walker. Ryan Walker's now gone from first to third as Weeks goes on by. So, yeah, the rain's increased again because the dry line has now vanished, pretty much. So we have a lot of water back on the circuit, so it's actually going to help these guys now as Andreas Waters has pulled off. Don't hit Weeks. Oh, wow, that was close. Oh, that was so close, in fact. Sindre Grimseth is leading the way, 4.2 seconds now in front of Jordan Weeks after he's been held up quite badly by Ryan Walker. I shouldn't say held up, they're battling for position, but overall it was a hold up because he was only a second behind. He's now 4.6. So that's really damaged Jordan Weeks' race. It's being stuck behind Ryan Walker there now.
Yeah, I think our closest battle on track right now is going to be is still for P6, which is between Schreiten and Dudemeister. Obviously, Dudemeister's getting the grips with his shiny new set of tyres and challenging Roy for position there. Ahead of them is James Shepherd, he's been about 5 seconds behind Kapala for a good chunk of the last bit of the race. He's not making any impression now on him.
Well, that's his main rival currently in terms of championship standings is between Lapala and Shepherd, and they're 4th and 5th. So as long as Shepherd keeps Lapala in range, then I'm sure Shepherd should be able to control his race quite well because that's his main target. Grimseth obviously had a bad Melbourne, and while he is leading the way, that might actually help Grimseth boost himself in the standings.
Just started to put in, but Ryan Walker's having looks at Jordan Weeks. Looks like Ryan's
Weeks
had a bit. Oh, there we go. Well, that ends that battle right. Okay, we're just going to stay either. Maybe it would be interesting to see now whether that was a case of just look at Ryan's lap as he comes across the line was 58. Maybe it was a case of that Weeks ran his tyres to the end. Yeah, because he went from 54 to 56, and if we go back to P6 and we see Schreiten and Dudemeister back from the back straight.
It looks like he burned out his tyres completely there as well because he went to 7 seconds off the lead as them two, Schroten and Dudemeister, are still battling pretty hard. Oh, Schroten pits as well.
That'll release Dudemeister and we'll see now what he can, kind of impression he can make now. He's 38 seconds off the lead, well 40 seconds off the lead now, but he's still about 30 seconds, still about the same gap he was to Ryan Walker overall now, so even staying out that little bit longer and challenging Ryan for position hasn't really paid off for him.
Weeks has come out in front of Dudemeister as well by some 5 seconds. So that's for 5th place, sorry. So that has now put Villa de Pala actually up onto the podium, and he's only 1.8 seconds behind Ryan Walker. James Shepherd has closed the gap quite considerably as well in that last lap. It's down to 3.4. So Shepherd's pushing on. He is pushing on trying to catch La Pala because they're both coming up pretty sharpish on Ryan Walker.
Yeah, you're getting the feeling that the tyres aren't going to last as we can see, but we saw with Dulemister, he just seemed to completely fall off the cliff, and now Weeks. So you just wonder, is there going to be a point now that, and even Roy Schreiten's after pitting. So got a question: when's James Shepard going to pit? Is he going to pit? I would hazard a guess and say yes. I'm going to put my colours to the mast and say he should have to. I imagine.
The rain is starting just to hold off a little more again now, because there's a drier line appearing. That drier line is starting just to gently reappear, so it's not quite as heavy as it has been, as Ryan Walker is starting to see a second target car getting pretty menacingly big in his mirrors. But in turn, Lapala is going to start seeing a green and black CSG car approaching him pretty quick, because it's down to 3 seconds exactly. 53.4 there for Shepard, and a 55.1 for Lapala, 55.8 for Walker. So, fast man at the moment, CSG Racing, James Shepard.
And you'd imagine, like, he is only 16 seconds off the lead. After all these troubles, he's not actually out of this yet.
Not at all, and we could be on for a quick lap here, because Grimseth's just gone through Sector 1, the fastest Sector 1 we've currently seen, by a tenth over James Shepard. He was the fastest on a 52.0. So we are starting to get this dry line, and yeah, you can see it with most of these cars now, there is definitely a dry line appearing. So as the rain starts to just hold back a little bit, not as heavy as it has been, and Shepard's getting quicker because he's down to 2.5. He's taking half second out of Lapala in Sector 1 alone, as Ryan Walker's still struggling through that double right. Down to 7 tenths now. Lapala is catching him.
And Shepard can see both, and that's all the motivation you need out there. When you see, you can see second. You're riding around him on board right now, and I can see second, and I'm sure he's thinking, I'll have that, thanks.
Yep, absolutely. It's going to be Lapala, Walker and Shepard all battling for second place. Jordan Weeks now is some 20 odd seconds down the road. Lapala's just put his pit request light on. Why? Are you going to gamble? Or are you going to go in for more wet tyres? I tell you what, if the target guys are burning through that wet tyres pretty quickly, if this is the case, what's Grimseth doing? He's gone through. Grimseth's gone for another lap.
What
is Lapala going to do? Lapala's getting close to Walker as he comes up to the final corner.
I think he's going to come in.
Was he? Oh wow! Yeah, he was going to, but Ryan
going in now.
Slow in the final corner. He's got it slowed down, so he's pulled off. So Lapala is pitting. Really, Lapala is diving into the pits. Ryan Walker, second place. James Shepard has been released into third, but is now only 2.2 behind Ryan Walker. Lapala is in the pit lane. Jordan Weeks will pass. Oh wow, Willie! He just got completely sideways going into the final corner there, did Jordan Weeks, but got it sorted out. As Lapala sits in pit lane. Release and wet tyres again. So yeah, the target boys are burning through their wet tyres pretty quickly.
It's that, or they're just not feeling enough, as Weeks is going to get by.
Yes, he is just. Wow, that's close.
And again, this could be.
Oh, no, it's not.
There's Lapala.
Wow, Lapala's just released off the brakes and he's gone spearing into the side of Weeks there. Weeks has gone on quite a wide line as well, so I was a little bit naughty there from Billy Lapala on those fresh wet tyres, but he's burnt them up and he's come back out in front of Jordan Weeks after all that, because Weeks is trying to be courteous. Lapala said, I don't give a crap, I'm punching the face. So he's gone straight through and he's now up to fourth.
Well, considering how much Grimseth seemed to lose behind him, I don't blame Lapala for doing that in some regards. I mean, we saw Grimseth and Weeks going hard at it when Grimseth came out of the pits last time, but I'm sure he's probably looking at the drying line, thinking, "Oh, I hope things haven't come too early." As James Shepard is right up behind Ryan Walker right now, and I'm sure he's going to be making a move rather quickly and on the Scott.
Absolutely, he's getting very, very close to him. James Shepard into the second last corner is very, very close to him. He's got a good drive out the final corner now. Shepard is on more downforce, and look at that. You can see the difference as well because Walker's pulling away from him. So Shepard has got more downforce on that car. He's closing on him. Not enough though. 16 seconds now is Grimseth's lead. So he's doing a Walker what he did at the start of the race. In the second race currently goes to Grimseth on lap 26 as they cross the line.
Well, ideally, if you're James, you want to take James after, or not James, you want to take Ryan after you've dealt with these long straights. At least once you get into the inner workings of the track, obviously the more downforce he's probably carrying will actually benefit him more and be able to scoot a bit of a gap by the time he gets back around to the long straights. There's no benefit for him taking him on the second last corner if a car can suddenly just go straight back by him on the home straight. But It's
Yeah,
looked like
you
it's
are
going to take him another lap or two.
absolutely right. But I think Shepard's actually starting to struggle with his tyres because he's gone through sets 1 and he's 4/10 off his own time. So I wonder if actually Shepard's now hit the wall with his tyres and he's going to start struggling with them because he's definitely not as close to Walker as he was previously. Although all the high-speed corners. Oh wow! Off those who will drive around the outside of him. Who's going to slow up the inside? In fact, this is where Walker's struggling the most. Walker cannot get the end of sector 1 right. Sorry, the mid part of sector 1 right. And there we go.
Go by him right
Jeff
here
goes
now.
straight by him.
If James
I
is
say
struggling on
that.
tyres,
Look.
I'd nearly come in now.
And
He's-
brakes later, he'll sweep around the... Ooh, Ryan Walker. Yeah, James just stopped dead there, in fact. So Ryan Walker's held on to it. Good driving, Ryan Walker, actually. I thought he was dead and buried there at one stage. But he's held on to it.
But all
he's
the
got the
while,
long
James
stretch
is
coming up.
losing time to Lapala. That's probably his biggest concern right now, is that
Yep.
anytime he had gained on Lapala, he's losing right now. And if he does have to pit again for tyres, then he's
Jordan
up a
Weeks is
certain
getting quite
creek.
close to Lapala as well. Yeah, it looks like Jordan Weeks is trying to approach Lapala as Dulamister is in 6th. Scott Bennett, we've not spoken to him about him for a while, but he's steadily going along, 15 seconds behind Dulamister in 7th place. Roy Schroten is some 3.8 seconds further back down the road. Andreas Pestovs was running up in 6th at one stage, now currently in 9th. And Patrick Gatewood, clearly the man that does not like the wet conditions after having a strong start, is running in 10th.
Actually, just a shout to someone who actually had a horrible start but seems to have been recovering. We'd seen him a lap down following Ryan Walker, is Pavel Lognowski. He's the last man on the lead lap, but he's actually in 13th place.
And we've got a battle on again for 4th place because Weeks and Lapala have just gone side by side to the final corner. And to the outside now goes Villa Lapala in the target racing against the
Just
Malta
breezes
Force.
by.
Straight line speed. Oh, he's breezed. Yeah, exactly. He's breezed by him. And he's going to brake later as well. He is indeed. He's going to try and
So really, this race is for Grimsett to lose at this point. That's what the old commentators cursing the old lad. But obviously, one thing we'll have to watch out. We are watching the last 8 or so laps of this race now. Is that Ryan Walker still has a 15-second lead over La Pala, and his pace has improved somewhat. That he's not hemorrhaging time that much. I mean, he still loses maybe about 2 or 3 seconds a lap, but he could actually just about hold on to a podium.
Okay, we apologise there for the brief interruption with the audio. I believe it's back on now, so yeah, we apologise for that slight technical issue. But we're underway again, and it's still the same at the front. Sindri Grimseth leads from 19.8 seconds down the road from James Shepherd, and Ryan Walker in third, a further 6 seconds back from the CSG Racing car of Shepherd's. La Pala, he's the one that's going to start making a move, we think, on Ryan Walker. Some 15 seconds down the road, well, that's just been slashed, in fact, it's down to 12. So he is starting to close with La Pala. Now where's Jordan Weeks? Jordan Weeks is right with him as well. So Jordan Weeks still on those same tyres. Oh no, he has pitted actually now. He's got the second lot of tyres on the car now, but he's still right with him. Fastest lap of the race, James Shepherd. So he's out with his next lot of tyres. Sorry, no, he's on the same tyres as the pits on first time round, because the second one was a drive-through. So he's making these tyres work, and he's just on the fast lap of the race at 51.9. And Grimseth is very, very nearly just hit Martin Bulgin as well, so he's got to go careful. Actually, Grimseth's on a quick lap here. 0.1 up on the ultimate time and 0.6 up on his own by looks of it.
Might need a new pair of overalls after that near miss. Just looked like Bulgin was just trying to get out of the way, and Grimseth, I think, had decided to go in one direction, and I suppose that's the stage. I know some people are trying to be helpful at times with actually jumping off the line, but they don't actually realise sometimes that is exactly the wrong decision that they need to make. That sometimes just holding pace and being consistent will allow the car behind you to actually move around you rather than you trying to put
I totally
the
agree with
out.
that. It's consistent with what the car needs to do. They need to make sure they have given enough notice to the car what's going on behind, because if you pull off line and you're going to go around the outside of them, then it's going to end up in a collision. As we've got a bit of a battle going on at the moment for P10. This is between Andreas Pestovs, who's been running in the top 10 all day, against Patrick Gatewood. And Patrick Gatewood's in the multi-force car that's got a lot less downforce. And he goes straight the way through. So Gatewood goes up to 9th after having a pretty difficult race. He's not liking these wet conditions very much as Pestovs comes back at him. But Gatewood goes up into 9th place for multi-force. Pestovs 10th. He's now got a 16-second advantage over Ben Warren.
Yes, and of course they have also Grimsett in between them as well. Actually, I wonder whether Pavel Ognoski has made a pit stop there recently. Yeah, he has. He did 2:03 there a few laps ago. Because obviously we were just talking about him, and he was battling up there with Ben Warren for 11th and 12th, but now Lugnoski has fallen back down to 13th position now behind O'Connor and Warren.
A 55 there for Ryan Walker, and it's a 53 dead for La Pala. The gap's now down to 10 seconds. 6 laps, 10
that's
seconds.
Gonna be tight.
That's going to be... Well, let's work it out. 2... Ooh, he might get it probably with 4 laps. He should get him at the current rate, he'd get him in 4 laps time.
Sorry, count with your fingers. That's what I do in those situations.
I think I needed it then as well. It's been a long race.
Yeah, and of course the worry for Ryan Walker is that La Pala is pulling Weeks along with him. So not only does he risk losing the podium, but Walker could be 5th by the time he crosses the line. I suppose the only benefit of things is that Dudelmeister is well back in 6th, and it would be an improvement of 1 position from his starting spot. Walker was about 6th, I think, from the off. As Martin Wernerson has retired, listed suspension problem, and I see him stopped off on track here looking at the replay.
James Shepherd just coming up behind traffic now as well. He's got Pavel Otnovsky to negotiate first before Martin Bulgin. Whoa! Wow! Okay, Shepherd was very, very, very lucky there because the Innovision car went off the track, came back on right in front of Shepherd. Shepherd pulled to the left and managed to get it just back into the apex of the corner, but that would have given him a fright for the Aussie. He's got past him though, so Luknovsky has been negotiated around. The next target is Martin Bulgin.
Yes, and kind of looking up and down, I see we have both PPD cars into the pit lane very late. Pestroff and O'Connor. We just seen Pestroff was battling for 10th there with Gatewood, but they've fallen out, which has put Ben Warren for PB Racing to 10th.
Shepherd has just gone round Bolgan. Pestroff's come out in front of him. He's trying to go through the middle of them. He's got them finally, but that was a bit of a moment there, and Loknowski's followed them all through. So Loknowski, I think, gained position out of that as well. As
It's up to 11th now.
Yeah, Shepherd has got past the traffic, but still held at 19 seconds behind Grimseth. Ryan Walker's still third, 8 seconds to Lapala. So that wasn't a great lap there for Lapala. I think Walker had a better lap. He did indeed. He had a much better lap that time round, but he's just made a mistake in turn 4. 10 seconds behind Shepherd, 7 seconds in front of Lapala. 5 laps roughly to go. Oh, it's going to be tight between all these three for the final step on the podium, I think. Ryan Walker, Philly Lapala, and Jordan Weeks. Jordan Weeks is under a second behind Lapala as well, and he's just on the fastest sector 1 as well. Oh no, sorry, Lapala did the fastest sector 1 then.
Obviously trying, his time's running out. If he's got anything left, and he really should, because he's got the freshest tyres over the last.
Grimseth's pit request lights on.
Oh dear.
Oh wow. Is he going to dive into pit lane for the last another set of tyres? Surely not. Oh, he is.
He is.
He is. Race leader, Sindre Grimseth of Target Racing has dived into pit lane with a 19-second lead with 5 laps to go for another set of tyres. I cannot believe this.
You've got to wonder.
Is he really burnt through those enough that he can't cool them down?
And what about James? I mean, his tyres have got to be...
James' tyres
really.
must be screaming. James must... The thing is, look, he's doing it now. He's pulling off line. He's cooling them down. He's doing the right thing. That's just clever driving. Now where's Shepherd? Oh, it's going to be tight. In front of him. This is going to be a battle to the end. It's going to be 4 laps going. Grimseth's come out right in front of Shepherd. He's right in front of him. Incredible driving.
You've got to say, it's got to be advantage to Grimseth. Fighting, he can get himself.
Yeah, he's already pulled away as well.
But still, it's amazing. You think you're 4 laps from the end and you realise, crap, I got a pit.
I really don't know if I would have taken that gamble at that point. That's an incredible gamble. But Pedicassa, if you've called that, hats off, sir, because that is a hell of a call, a ballsy call if I've ever seen one as well. Shepherd's definitely got the downforce advantage because he's catching him through the S's. He's doing the same as what he did to Ryan Walker. Now the double right-hander, this will be advantage Shepherd, and he's right up behind him. He's right up behind Sindre Grimseth at the moment, and he's going to come down towards the hairpin. This will be, the Grimseth should be okay here. Oh, big lunge, Shepherd, he's gone for the race lead. He's got up the inside. Yes, he's got it, has he? The drive should go to Grimseth because he's got the fresh tyres. And he has.
He's hang around the outside.
Oh, wow, Shepherd around the outside. Oh, they touch. They touch. Grimseth still holds it, though. Grimseth still holds the race lead, but Shepherd is flying through that high-speed section in Sector 1 as Grimseth runs wide onto the AstroTurf there. They're going very, very wide before the corner entry, sweep the corner entry through. Sindre Grimseth's going to have much less downforce and will pull away now for, well, a few corners at least, so we can all catch our breath once again on lap 32. But this is very, very challenging now. Can James Shepherd on the same tyres? I don't even know how long he's been out there for. That's ridiculous how long he's been out on tyres.
Yeah, no, we'll save that for the post-race anyway. We can ask James ourselves after this, but
we need to look backwards as well in a moment. Ryan Walker, he's holding steady. Ryan Walker's finally got these tyres to where he wants them at. He's holding steady, 6 seconds. It might work out for Ryan Walker. It might work out for another 3rd place. Lapala now has to navigate his way around O'Connor and Bolgan, and he's got Jordan Weeks now 1.3 seconds. He's fallen back slightly. Now James Shepherd, he's 8 tenths behind Grimseth simply because that straight line speed advantage. It's going up. But as soon as he hits the anchors at turn 4, from turn 4 down towards the hairpin at turn 9, or 10, I can't remember which corner number it is now, he gains a lot back. Yeah, that's a 10th gained in 1 corner alone. High-speed corners. Grimseth's got to watch out for Ben Warren. Grimseth's wide as well through the start of the S's. And look at that, he's already caught up behind him once again. And he's going to get him at the double right-hander as he is. He's dropped the gears. He's going to get better acceleration off the corner. Oh, he's nearly nudged his rear tyre as well. Ben Warren's got to be wary of this.
Stay left. Good man.
He is wary. He's done well. Now can Shepherd dive up the inside? No, he can't. So Shepherd has once again He's going to fall behind him because he won't be able to do anything now because the straights are coming up. That's going to be disadvantage to James Shepherd. Oh no, Grimseth's wide. No, that's a better drop. Oh, he made a mistake. He's up. He made a mistake. He got it all crossed up. He got it all crossed up and through goes James Shepherd.
But it's the worst place for James to take the lead. The problem is that Grimseth is going to have 2 nice long straights and to really have a go at now. So I mean, it's the worst place possible for Grimseth to have a mistake from James' point of view. It's vital if James can't just somehow try to make sure Grimseth doesn't get by.
He is absolutely breezed by him. Oh, he's trying to squeeze Shepherd as well to the apex of the corner. Now in the corner, Nico de Koning is coming to pit lane as well. Shepherd can't do anything. He's squeezed all the way to the inside. Crosses the line, lap 34. 2 to go, and Shepherd is still trying to close on Grimseth. Where's Ryan Walker? Ryan Walker still third place. 4.5 seconds. He's lost time that lap. He did indeed. 54.5 place, 53.7 for Lapala. Where's Jordan Weeks? Second behind. He's pulling along still.
Just quickly there, while all that was going on between Grimseth and Shepherd, Roy Schreiten had gotten around Scott Bennett and pulled well away, so Roy's up in the 7th. It was a nice move just towards the end of the lap through the quick S's that he managed to get by, so maybe James can take some heart from that move from his teammate. As he
James just made a big mistake though. James just got horribly wrong going over turn 4. He's locked up the tyres, went over the curbing. Now Grimseth's going to be slow. It'll allow him to close, but it won't be this lap because Shepherd's already made his mistake. Yeah, he's well behind now. Now get a little bit more time back in the double right. Shepherd should be able to carry the maximum speed he wants to as well because he hasn't been able to the past few laps being right under that rear wing of Target Racing. He just went from 1.2 to 6 tenths in 3 corners. And again, this is where Shepherd will close. But again, now this is where Grimseth will pull away. So Shepherd has to get much closer, get much more ballsy if he wants to try and pass him.
James, get more ballsy? Really?
Well, yeah, all right. I'd say that's a good point. After everything happened last night as well.
I imagine that I think if we're going to see something from James, it's going to be some last lap thing. I think he wants to surprise Grimseth and not give him a chance to respond. Now, of course, he had the mistake which hasn't helped himself this lap, but I think he'll probably try and wind himself up for one good overtaking move and try to really shock him.
I tend to agree, and it was 7 tenths. Oh, now Grimseth's gone a little deep. Shepherd's too early, in fact, there. Shepherd needs to carry much more speed. Oh, wow, yeah, that was bad move there, James Shepherd. He's fallen to 1.3 behind, and we start the final lap of the race. Here we go, then. 1.6 is a difference. Straight line advantage, Grimseth. Shepherd will now make that up going through turns 1 and 2 a little bit. Not much, though. Not as much as he wanted, and them tyres are starting to scream, I bet, as well. Oh, yeah, he's struggling. Oh, I think he's pushed it too much.
Yeah, he looks like
2.2 seconds now. The dirty air effect would have been a little nasty as well for him as Grimseth goes through turn 4. Shepherd closes again. Oh, no, it's not going to be enough. So Grimseth is holding on at the moment at least.
And just
but
looking
Shepherd
backwards,
will close with these sets of corners.
Ryan is about second and a half ahead of Lapala.
Oh,
He's
wow, yes.
probably just got enough.
That's a big loss, though, for Walker. Sorry, that was 3 seconds he lost on that lap alone. So Lapala is closing on Walker. Now, where's Jordan Weeks? Oh, he's got pissed off on Cognac in the way. That's an absolute nightmare. He's 2
and a worse place to meet them, too.
Yeah, 1.4 seconds behind Lapala. That's an absolute nightmare for Jordan Weeks.
I think both guys have done their best to try and stay out of the way.
Oh, Pestoff's that's close.
Yeah. How much is Ryan going to suffer through these quick double right-handers? We've seen him so, but I think he's going to be tight. 7
tenths. He might get him in his 2 straights because Walker's really struggling with these slow speed corners. Oh, he's understeered as well. Now, what's going on at the front? Grimseth is 1.3 seconds. It has 1.3 seconds over James Shepherd. So James Shepherd pulled a second back. But at the moment, Sindre Grimseth looking like he's going to be the race winner. He's come up to the final corner. We've seen him look up a couple of times in the final corner. He's not done it this time. He swept in beautiful line and a beautiful apex. Oh, it's half spun. Oh, wow. I thought that was a spin. He's come up the final corner and he does win. Sindre Grimseth wins in Malaysia. James Shepherd is in second place.
As we go back to Ryan Walker.
Ryan Walker against Vili Lapala.
Does Lapala try one last, anything for the last corner?
Very late here. He is. Look how late he's braking. He's braked so late into that corner now. Can he get the drive in front of Ryan Walker? Put his foot down. Lapala.
Oh, it's kind of sideways. I think he lost it there.
Walker's going to get it. Walker's on the podium. Awesome drive. Lapala's fourth. Weeks is fifth. Unbelievable drive there for Ryan Walker to get into third place.
Fantastic stuff. And just how close can you get? I think Lapala nearly had a chance, but I just think that got on the throttle just a bit too early and just got a little bit of a tank slapper going on there, and which is, lost him, I think, the drive that he might have just needed to run Ryan a bit closer. What, 2/10 in the end, according to things there? That's all it was in it.
Doolemis just come across the line as well for sixth place. He was some 25 seconds further on down the road. Roy Schroten, this is James Shepherd's teammate for CSG Racing. Looks like he's going to get seventh place. He's coming up to the final corner now, and the rain is it's heaviest as it's been all race. It is raining now heavier than it has at any other time in the race. And it's just finishing. Coming up to the line now, Roy Schroten, 7th. Patrick Gatewood, he's going to be the last one, I believe, on the lead lap. Yes, he is, because Scott Bennett was lapped and he was 9th. So Patrick Gatewood from Multiforce is coming up to the final corner now. Oh, God, he can barely get these wet tyres turned in. So he comes out the final corner, lead lap, top 8 are finished on the lead lap. Patrick Gatewood comes across the line for Multiforce Racing. What an absolutely incredible race that was.
Oh, definitely. I mean, if it's anything like that tomorrow night, I mean, that had a bit of everything. Really, we had people starting on the wet tyres, we had penalties going into the race, we had people having to change their tyres very quick, we had different strategies with everything we wanted.
That absolutely superb. We've had changes for the lead, we've had overtaking everywhere, we have people in different strategies, diving into pit lane, getting different tyres. Incredible race, absolutely incredible race. Sindre Grimseth for Target Racing has come out on top of the podium. P1, a superb effort there for Grimseth after a very, very difficult start, in fact. James Shepherd has consolidated that second place, done well for his championship. Ryan Walker, third place man for Satellite Racing, another third place. Villa Palace, 4th. So it's a few points lost to James Shepherd there, but Grimseth's probably closed a lot on these two as well now, so that's really helped Grimseth in the championship terms. And Jordan Weeks was 5th, Dimitri Doomis at 6th, Roy Schroten for CSG 7th, Patrick Gatewood Multiforce in 8th. And then we've got a series of one lap down is Scott Bennett 9th, Pavel Opnowski 10th, Ben Warren at 11th, Andreas Pestov's 12th, Will Tringus 13th, Martin O'Connor 14th, Mark Wicks 15th for Street Fighter, Yanni Vanden for Scuderia Basilia in 16th, and Dale Stones in 17th place. Other guys that finished then still as well was Nico de Cognac was 2 laps down for FA Racing, Martin Bolgin for Scuderia Basilia in 19th, and Andreas Waters for Fox Racing in 20th. So even though we had that bad weather, we still had 20 finishes. Which is very impressive, to be fair. So 20 finishes, and we had Morten Verneson was out with the suspension damage, Iha Bass, Dan Rusu, Fihad Moodley and Dave Nichols all out with accidents pretty early on in the race as well, lap 12 and 11 there.
Yeah, it was kind of early on when the rain kind of just seemed to be getting heavier, but it was a fair effort. And I believe Rusu and Abbas had a collision in the pit lane, according to Chris Williamson. He sent me a message there earlier on during the height of things. So, you know, I mean, that takes away 2 of them. Then you're talking about 3 other guys who had accidents out there. So, considering the weather conditions that these guys had to face, it was very impressive that they managed to get the whole way through the race without even those who finished a lap or 2 down, just to get through the whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's been an incredible run for these guys, and an unbelievable race to broadcast and commentate on. And thankfully, we've got a few drivers with us now already, which is absolutely fantastic. Now we'll start off. It looks like we've got second place man, Mr. James Shepherd. Sir, that was a great race and a great recovery as well, seeing as you had the drive-through penalty. But let's go back to the very, very start, where you actually got off the line on the first one with it looked like a jump start there for you.
Yeah, it was. I anticipated the lights and I missed it. Yeah, got a drive through.
Yeah, and come to the restart of the second race, obviously, or the restarted race, you should say. It was pretty eventful early on, and you're battling up towards the front for all that opening stint, and then another drive-through for speeding in pit lane, I guess it was then.
Yeah, that's the problem with having you push the torque button right beside your pit speed limiter on your steering wheel, I guess.
Wow. Okay, so that's there you go. If you ever want to talk to the pits, don't put it next to your pit lane speed limiter. But after that, once you obviously come out from the pits and you negotiated all the penalties you had to negotiate, how was the race there afterwards for you?
It was pretty uneventful, really. It was just lapping and watching what the target guys were doing. And in the end, I tried to take the battle to Grimseth, but I just didn't have the tyres left. I'd finished the race with 12% left on my front left, so that's kind of just a bit beyond the grip level. And yeah, like, well done to them. They deserve it. But, hopefully next race I won't get a drive through and I can take the win.
Absolutely. I mean, you drove absolutely superbly considering you've only pitted once those tyres. Just to put into some sort of context for you as well, the target guys both pitted twice. In fact, Lapala pitted 3 times for the wet tyres, and you made them last by pitting once and then running all the way to the end of the race. I mean, is that just a particular trait in your driving style? Or, I mean, personally for me, from what I saw on board, you were just simply clever. You went offline, you cooled them down. And a lot of those drivers out there weren't doing it, but you were one, and it paid off, especially getting now up to second place.
Yeah, I took a different line just to preserve the tyres, to try not to stress them. And I was running about 1.5 seconds to 2 seconds laps slower than what I could have done if I'd pushed them, but I was maintaining a certain temperature on the tyres, and that was pretty much key to making them last, because once they get too hot, they're very hard to recover because they slide too much.
Yeah, and now with obviously Lapala finishing further on down, but Grimseth obviously winning the race, how do you see the championship panning out at this point? Because Grimseth really brought himself back into it now, whereas Lapala's had slightly more difficulty. So it's going to be pretty tight between the three of you, and Ryan Walker's pretty menacing with 2, 3 third place finishes now as well.
Ryan should be ahead of Grimseth still in the standings, because Grimseth retired from race 1. Look, it's going to be interesting, but we can't tell until the season pans out a bit further. Malaysia's a bit of a weird track with the weather we had and me getting a penalty and all this sort of stuff. So, fingers crossed I can get a bit better preparation for my race. I had to stuff all practice laps this week, so yeah, we'll just see how it goes.
All right, well, awesome job. Massive congratulations on second place. I think you drove a superb race there. Any questions from yourself, Phil?
No, I think you did a good prosecutor's job, and then I think you covered every base with him, and then some.
Oh, okay, well, we'll move on now then. So thank you very much for that, James. And we now also have third place man, Mr. Ryan Walker. Ryan, that was an awesome call on the restarted race to go onto wet tyres, but it must have been pretty dicey for those first 2 laps, considering it was still quite high temperature and not a lot of rain.
Yeah, it was. On the first start, I decided to start with the options because I thought it wouldn't start raining until halfway through. Then me and David had a discussion, and for the second restart, if we should switch to the wet tyres and take the gamble and see if it starts raining in the first maybe 3 or 4 laps. And yeah, we started on the wet tyres, and thankfully it started to rain, which helped us, and especially helped me because everyone else was on the option tyres from what I could see, and they never had any grip, so I could just sail past them. So thankfully the gamble paid off.
Yeah, absolutely, and incredible, really, with how that race panned out for you. When you obviously pitted for the tyres, though, it looked like you struggled for pace quite heavily. 3 seconds at one stage you were struggling. What happened in terms of the pace that you had in the middle part? Because that really hindered your race at one stage.
Yeah, I'm not sure why. In testing in the wet tyres, I've never had any problems with understeer, but in the race when it started raining, and then in the second half of the race, the car was developing really bad understeer into the corners, so I couldn't get the front end turned down like I could. So I started losing time, and from then on it was just a fight to the finish and just salvage any points I could get.
Yeah, if you don't mind me jumping in there, Nick, I've gotta ask you a question. Do you go in with any set kind of strategy in mind? Myself and Nick were having this discussion during the race, trying to figure out, if people were fueling their cars up and seeing how far they could go, or whether they were pushing the tires as far as they could go. I mean, I know you pitted a lap after the target pair came in. Was that your originally planned stop, or were you just trying to respond to them?
I never had any strategy set in stone. It was just when I put the wet tyres on, it was just to see how far I could get. And when David, my teammate, told me on TeamSpeak that both target drivers were in the pits, I decided to pit after them and see if I could get back out in front of them. And yeah, it worked. And because I heard that the Mester pit stop up because both of them were at the same time.
Yeah, it was something that cost Lapala about 10 seconds. Kind of important 10 seconds in the grand scheme of things. But yes, no, we were trying to judge their strategies because obviously they seem to be pitting twice, while obviously you pitted, I suppose, once in comparison. So no, we were kind of wondering what way the strategy was going. But fantastic result for you, Ryan. A second podium, and I know the first one was. You felt great about that one, and to knock up another one so soon. We got 3 in a row now when we get to the A1 ring.
It would be good. The next round I would like to win, but I don't like to big myself up. But every race that I take part in is just take it as it comes, and if I finish in the points, then I'm more than happy with that.
Well, Ryan, you're doing more than that at the moment because you've obviously had 2 third-place finishes. You've got to have one eye on the championship a little bit at the moment.
It would be good to challenge for the championship, but when there's so many quick drivers around, such as James, Lapala, Grimseth, even Jordan, and as well, it'll be difficult. But yeah, I'll definitely be giving it my shot.
Well, nevertheless, that's a superb effort today, Ryan. So massive congratulations and well done.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on now. We've got Jordan Weeks with us as well. So Jordan, welcome to the commentary box. And how was your race for you there? It looked like it was pretty difficult at times, but you're another driver that made the wet tyres actually last quite a long period of time in the race.
First of all, I'd like to say thank you everyone for the nice race. Well, when I went on to the wet tyres, I knew from the start that I had to protect them, because if I was to go as fast as possible on them, they won't survive that long. And in practice, I only could do around 15 laps at most. But thinking of the race, I just decided to keep the pace away, protect the tyres as much as I can, and yeah, do what I can for the whole race. I started at 10th, so there's nothing to lose in my case. So, yeah.
Well, considering how long you made those wet tyres go for, I mean, even when Lapala had pitted again, you were still right there with him, only a second behind. And when Lapala was closing down Ryan before there, we thought you were actually going to go with him at only a second behind, but towards the end of the race, it looked like you were quite heavily hindered by the traffic.
Oh yeah, there was a few people that held me and cost me a bit of time, but I wasn't really bothered because I just wanted to finish the race after so many issues.
Absolutely. Yeah. Any questions for myself there, Phil?
Yeah, just go in there. So it was a great race for you, Jordan. And also you showed at times that you weren't going to, I suppose, lay over and die. I suppose when you had cars coming by you, I know you had a couple of close battles with Grimseth and Lapala all the way through the field, and even managed to fight back. It's a good sign going forward that you could match these two guys. Obviously, the two of them have been picked out as potential championship contenders. So, do you see yourself being able to hold that kind of pace and keep with these guys as the season goes on?
I don't really know I'm able to beat him, but I think I could be able to try my best to get in front of them, but it's going to be really hard for that to happen, so yeah. Be honest, they'll be running away most races, but okay. I'll be there giving them a run for their money.
Excellent work, Jordan. Well, thank you very much for that. You've done a superb effort again there tonight, so good job. And we'll move on to our last person in the commentary box here is Scott Bennett. Scott, good evening, and that was a pretty challenging race for yourself there as well. You started well, and looks like you were holding on to position pretty healthily, but a few issues towards the end there, by the looks of it.
I just had a horrendous start off the line, and I ended up going from something like 8th to 23rd by turn 1. So I got caught in the midfield melee, and the car just got a bit battered up before the rain came. So I was struggling with damage for pretty much the entire race. So when I did finally get the wets on and I turned into a corner, I just sailed past every apex because there was just nothing in the front end anymore. So I, of course, just wrecked the fronts with every lap I did, and I just couldn't get anything out of them. And coming to the last few laps, I just couldn't make them last as long as they did, and I got a puncture on the last lap, and the other tyre was about to give way as well.
Yeah, we saw how difficult time. I mean, but you got yourself up in and around the echelons of the top 10s. You were battling quite hard for a period of time. Was it strategy call that really hindered you in the end?
Oh, well, I came out with the wets on thinking that I'd have to stop again anyway with the fuel load and the way it was, so I tried pushing, and then I just realised just how bad I was wrecking the front tyres with the damage. So I just thought, well, I took a gamble and pitted 2 laps earlier than I should have done, and I really paid the price at the end, losing out to both Roy and Patrick.
And for yourself, in terms of the championship after 2 races now, how do you see it panning out for yourself?
I've been telling myself that a top 10 would be good. Anything more than like a top 6 would be fantastic, but I can't. I'd struggle to achieve that, I believe. Going for the top 10.
Excellent. Well, yeah, good way to keep positive. Well, thank you to all the drivers that have joined us in the commentary box now. Unfortunately, we don't have the 2 target guys, but nevertheless, we've had some good interviews there. And Phil, any final thoughts from yourself?
Well, obviously, we've had a brilliant race to watch. We had a little bit of everything there. It's a great advertisement, minus the first start for the league, which is hopefully what we'll remember. What a great race we had here, not the dodgy start the first time out. And as we can see, we're going to, even after 2 rounds, we're starting to get an idea of who we think is going to be in or about for the championship. I know, early days to be talking about championship, but obviously between Lapala, Shepherds, Grimseth's in there now. They're probably the 3 that we're going to be looking at as the season goes on for fighting it out for the championship. So even at this early stage, this is collecting the points that are going to be all important come November. Hopefully we're going to get another cracking race like that tomorrow night.
Hopefully so, yeah. And while Phil answers his text message, we'll just round out.
It's the missus.
All right, there you go. So we'll round out the evening. Just say thank you for everyone for joining us. It's been a superb evening's racing, Mr. Dave Carr-Smith. It was broadcast extraordinaire with the cameras tonight, so thank you very much to him. And you can rejoin the Supercup racing in 2 weeks' time. And that is on March the 27th from the Red Bull Ring in Austria. So we moved to the old A1 ring, now rerouted the Red Bull Ring. So we will look forward to seeing you then. Thank you all, and have a very good evening.